From Glendale, Arizona, CBS Sports presents the National Football League. The 2-6 Houston Texans and the 4-4 Arizona Cardinals. Kevin Harlan with Solomon Wilcots. A look at Wade Phillips, the acting Texans head coach, for the convalescing Gary Kubiak, who is expected back on the sideline next week.
And first-year head coach Bruce Arians has his Arizona Cardinals all even at 4-4. He told us that he likes his team's chances to make the playoffs, and it starts by stacking wins as we head into the second half of the season.
Today's game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. We've had the flip of the coin. The Texans have won. Deji Kareem will be back there retrieving the kickoff from 13-year veteran Jay Feely for the Arizona Cardinals. Kareem was signed back in late October, went active against the Colts. So here he is, ready to return it, former Jacksonville Jaguar. It's the Cardinals still in the playoff hunt, and the Texans trying to somehow get their way back in, and away we go from outside of Phoenix in Glendale. And here comes Kareem, who is hit and brought down on the play by Tony Jefferson on a 20-yard return. So here we go with another start for young Case Keenum out of the University of Houston, undrafted, on the practice squad all last season for the Texans. When he was at Houston, 5 years there and all kinds of NCAA records.
And he's a young and talented quarterback. He likes to go for the home run. He can sling it down the field. He's accurate throwing the ball down the field. And with him inserted at the quarterback position for the Texans, they have created more big plays for the offense.
Tight end Griffin is on the move. First down and 10. Keenum had it come out of his hand. I don't know if it's a fumble. It is. It's a fumble, and Shaughnessy vacuums it up, takes it in. Cardinals on top. Just like that.
Wow. You talk about creating big plays. It is the Cardinals coming off the bye week, looking for big plays. Pressure in the face of Keenum. There you see the hit. Sack. Ball comes out. Calais Campbell calls the fumble. Shaughnessy picks it up, scoops, and scores. These Cardinals have one of the best defenses in the National Football League, and they just showed you why.
Matt Shaughnessy, a former Oakland Raider, is back out there for special teams. You can't celebrate too much here, Matt, in the NFL. You got to get back there and play teams, and he gets a nice ovation as he runs back out there, and now the extra point from Feely. And what a way to start for both teams. 6-yard fumble return, and it's 7-0 Arizona. 14 seconds into the game. Matt Shaughnessy, 5 years out of Wisconsin, signed this past offseason by the Arizona Cardinals and takes it in. Keenum had it go right out of his hand on a good knockaway right there.
And watch 93, Calais Campbell. He comes up with the play. Matt Shaughnessy scoops it up and takes it in for the touchdown. Calais Campbell is one of these promising young stars on this defense for the Arizona Cardinals. Remember, they came into today's game tied for 4th with 19 takeaways. That was their 20th takeaway of the season.
John Abraham was the one to force it free. After watching a couple times there, it was a blur. That's how fast he came around. That's John Abraham's third forced fumble, and Shaughnessy at the right place at the right time. So this Arizona defense sacked Matt Ryan of Atlanta a couple weeks ago 4 times, picked him off 4 times, and guys like Abraham thriving in this terrific defense. And that sack, by the way, for Abraham puts him now at 126. He has just tied Hall of Famer Derek Thomas for number 12 on the all-time list of sacks. The late, great Derek Thomas of Kansas City. We'll kick it off again in a quick 7-0 hole. And once again, it's Kareem. We'll take it out for the Houston Texans. Getting a block on the play and then taking it up, and then Javier Arenas makes the stop after a 31-yard return up to about the 28-yard line. And here comes Keenum once again with Abraham. Already with the sack today. Let's take a look at the offensive line. They have struggled on both sides. Really, the only constant's been Chris Myers, a 2-time Pro Bowl at the center position. Headliner, of course, among the weapons. That's number 80 over there, Andre Johnson. Ben Tate will start today. No more Arian Foster. They say they're going to shelve him for the season. Probable back surgery, 1st and 10 for Keenum. And almost picked off, and that is incomplete. And coming through that time was Carlos Dansby. He just about had the ball. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10 for the Texans.
Oh, this defense, it starts with pressure, but look at the coverage on the back end. There's Peterson. Ball intended to Johnson and nearly intercepted there, as you said, by Dansby. So they're just really going to try to key in on Andre Johnson, understanding he's the weapon of choice for Case Keenum. They're going to have to find some other players to go to in the offense. Can't go forcing it in to Andre Johnson.
And a couple tight ends. They keep Griffin wide. They move Garrett Graham. 2nd down and 10. And Ben Tate trying to settle things down. And it makes it out with a gain of 3 to about the 31-yard line. Washington was there, among others, but it was really in the middle. Dan Williams, who makes the stop on Tate. Pretty good defensive line, certainly. Williams just made the stop. Darnell Dockett is a 3-time Pro Bowler, and Calais Campbell is on the fumble recovery. Terrific. Shaughnessy had the recovery for the touchdown. Abraham knocked it free. Washington is very difficult inside. Tyrann Mathieu is a rookie who now starts for Rashad Johnson. He is now number 1 on the depth chart. It's 3rd down and a long 7 for the Houston Texans on their 2nd possession. It's picked up and going wide. DeVere Posey was on the side. He was covered by Jerome Powers.
Before the snap, delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Rocky beginning, huh?
Yeah, Case Keenum, the young quarterback. He got his first start, Kevin, a couple of weeks ago at a loud and noisy Arrowhead Stadium against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. It really, I think, played very well. Had a very even game, but you can see getting off to a tough start here. The crowd noise in this stadium can reach a crescendo that really will disrupt a young quarterback.
Keenum on 3rd and 12. They need the 38. DeVere Posey looking for blocks. And finally brought down. Looked like Arenas got a hold of him there. A gain of 11. They needed 12. And it's 4th down. And the punting unit comes on. So they'll punt after their 2nd possession.
This Houston Texans team, boy, they've been through a lot. There's no doubt they've lost 6 consecutive games. Ties a franchise record for most consecutive losses during the season. And they're just trying to get some kind of footing, some kind of rhythm to re-jumpstart and recharge their season.
The 7-time All-Pro punter Leckler will boot this away for the Houston Texans. Gets it high and gets it far. And the electrifying Patrick Peterson from the 10-yard line. Dancing away and brought down by the newly signed Josh Victorian on the special teams. A guy who's bounced around a bit from Baltimore to New England. Pittsburgh 4 games a year ago, signed this week. 3-yard return, 53-yard punt, which ushers us in to the starting quarterback, the former Oakland Raider and Cincinnati Bengal, Carson Palmer, now for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, coming off the bye week, Carson Palmer talked about the fact that, the 14 interceptions is very disturbing for this football team, but the thing they have to get done is really just get on the same page between the quarterback and wide receivers, make sure that they're reading the same coverages and they're in the right place at the right time.
On the 13-yard line, 1st and 10, this is Rashard Mendenhall. He was taken in that time by J.J. Watt on a gain of 2 up near the 15-yard line. So we've seen about Palmer, the 11-year veteran. And on the line, they've got Sendline in the middle. Winston played 6 years for the Houston Texans, the right tackle, Kansas City last year. They'll have a lot of familiar faces across that line of scrimmage. And with Mendenhall now in, after missing a game a couple weeks ago with turf toe, and of course the offense headlined by Larry Fitzgerald. It's 2nd down and 9. Nowhere to run that time. Good play initially by Antonio Smith, the ex-Cardinal. It's a loss of 2. Flag is thrown on the play. Gene Steratore is our official today.
Offside. Defense. Number 94. 5-yard penalty. Replay. 2nd down.
That's Antonio Smith, the former Cardinal. Watch him come right in there. He'll shoot the gap. He makes the play at least, but he left too soon. That's why he was in the backfield making the tackle on Rashard Mendenhall. You know, the emotions and the adrenaline for Antonio Smith, the former Arizona Cardinal, was drafted by this team, played 5 seasons here for the Arizona Cardinals.
Second down and 4. This is Mendenhall signing this year. Big stick inside by Joe Mays. Gain of a yard up to the 20-yard line. This is the #1 defense in the NFL, anchored by J.J. Watt on that line. We've already heard from Smith, but Watt having quietly a very good season. To the top-ranked D. Brooks Reed is outside. Merciless on the other. They miss Brian Cushing, injured and out for the rest of the season. And KO is now starting in front of Reed at that free safety. Swearinger starts for the injured Danielle Manning. That's the coordinator and the acting head coach, Wade Phillips. Here's a 3rd and 3 for Carson Palmer at his own 20-yard line. And the tight end of the backfield, almost picked off on the play by Mays. The former Bronco had it and dropped it inside.
Wow. Now this is an opportunity to create a big play. Now watch Carson Palmer trying to go over the middle of the field. This ball hits Mays. Mays never even see it. Yeah, it hit him in the hands. You talk about this being the #1 ranked defense in the NFL. The one area they can perform much better in is the ability to create turnovers. Only 5 turnovers so far this year for the Texans defense.
Keyshawn Martin is back. Sastadil to punt the ball inside here for the Arizona Cardinals. And Keyshawn from the 39. Weaving his way by. And finally brought down on the play at about midfield. 12-yard return, 41-yard punt as Bell, that's Jeremiah Bell, makes the special team stop. And of course, most fans know about our friend, the NFL's friend, the head coach of the Texans, Gary Kubiak, with a mini stroke last week. Hospitalized, obviously, released early in the week. In fact, he attended practice, and they fully expect him to be on the sidelines next week against the Oakland Raiders.
And Wade Phillips said that of Gary Kubiak's visit, he came telling jokes, was able to loosen the team up, and they knew he was all right once they laid eyes on him.
This is Ben Tate on 1st and 10 and brought down from behind by one of the rising stars in the NFL, Darrell Washington from Irving, Texas. It's a loss of 4 and back to the 47.
Washington, all he does is make plays. Watch him shoot the gap. This is what you have to do against this zone scheme, the zone blocking scheme for the Houston Texans. They're trying to wall everyone off, and if you can get your safety and your linebackers to shoot the gaps, you can make penetration and create plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
With the fullback, Greg Jones in, 2nd down and 14. Keenum on the move and throwing, and it's caught by Jones for a 1st down at the 34-yard line. Locked down on the play by Peterson. 17-yard pickup. That's the 3rd catch all season for the fullback Jones.
If you can just get Case Keenum into a rhythm here on the road, here in Arizona, he can do things like this. He can extend plays. He can really come off the 1st or 2nd man in the progression as he finds his fullback, Greg Jones, to move the chains.
Just about a 6-foot-tall quarterback, undrafted out of Houston, as we mentioned. Tate on 1st and 10. And then upended on the play by Tyrann Mathieu, the rookie out of LSU, on a gain of 2 to the 32.
Boy, Tyrann Mathieu, he's not a big guy. He's starting at free safety, 5'9", 185 pounds, but you'll see him line up just about everywhere on this defense. At corner, he'll line up at free safety. He'll line up at the slot corner, and it's kind of a hybrid guy, as Patrick Peterson talked about. He can make a lot of plays. You put the camera on him, he usually takes you to the football.
Nickel secondary, 2nd down and 8. As you see, the empty backfield for Keenum.
And Tyrann Mathieu is at the top playing corner right now.
And throws inside. This is Posey. Well, from behind by Rashad Johnson. They get the 1st down near the 20-yard line. Pickup of 12, and the Texans again move the chains.
Posey just made a nice catch. Working against Tyrann Mathieu, was able to connect with his quarterback. Case Keenum on the slant route. It was a really nice route by Posey on the play.
There's a lot of effervescence in these snaps taken by the quarterback Keenum. The offense has really embraced him.
Oh, absolutely. And many of the guys in the locker room, they love him. He won this team over going all the way back to training camp.
Tate back in, 1st down and 10 from the 20. And this is Tate. Not a whole lot there. Brought down by Frosty Rucker, the ex-Cleveland Brown, and Bengal. No gain on the play, and they stay at about the 20-yard line.
And what did Andre Johnson say about Case Keenum? He said that, look, this kid, he said, we always knew there was just something about him. You know, Case Keenum played his college ball at the University of Houston, so many of these players that saw him play in college saw him put up these eye-popping numbers, and once he joined the team, it just said the charisma, the confidence that this kid had going all the way back to training camp was very impressive.
Second down and 10 for Keenum. There's nothing available, and he gets away and on the move and slides about the 13-yard line. It's a scramble of 7, so on the drive they get Jones for 17, Posey for 12, and the run right there by Keenum. And look at these numbers. You said eye-popping, you're right.
Wow. And led the nation and the all-time leader in the subdivision with passing yards, completions, and touchdown. 155 touchdowns in a 4-year career and over 9,000 passing yards at the University of Houston. It's very impressive, and you can tell he's put up some huge numbers just in his first 2 games, averaging 300 yards passing in his first 2 starts for the Texans.
Here he goes on 3rd and 3 with Tate in the backfield and outside. Graham got the first down, tackled on the play by Rashad Johnson. They'll be down to the 7. It's a gain of 6. 1st and goal to go, Houston.
And you see the accuracy and the arm strength to throw that ball outside the numbers, put it on the line. And I think what you love most about Case Keenum, yeah, he has 4 touchdown passes. He's averaging over 10 yards per pass attempt, but he has yet to throw an interception. He doesn't turn it over. If he can do that, he's going to give his team a chance to win ball games.
Over 3 touchdowns and 350 yards last week against Indianapolis. 8th play of the drive. Good block by Brown here on the edge to the end zone and hauled in by Johnson, and that is a touchdown. They'll review, obviously, the coverage by Patrick Peterson's 7-yard touchdown pass by Keenum, and he threw it perfectly for 6.
Yeah, perfectly. It describes it perfectly. Exactly. This is just an incredible throw. Because, look, Johnson's coming from here at the bottom of the screen. And look at this throw, even in a crowded pocket, putting it where Patrick Peterson cannot defend it, and just a great catch to haul it in by Andre Johnson. This is good coverage by Patrick Peterson.
It is.
This ball's thrown way to the outside where it needs to be. Does he get that second foot down? I think he does.
You can see the divot.
Wow. Great throw by the young quarterback, Case Keenum.
Look at Bruce Arians, and there is Andre Johnson, who did not have a touchdown reception going into last week, caught 3. They'll review it, obviously, as they do every scoring play. And if this is good, this will be his 4th touchdown reception, which would equal all of what he had last year.
Yeah, he didn't have a touchdown before last week, entering the 8th game of the season. Take a look. 1 foot down. Here's the back foot. And right there, you're going to see he got that in clearly, and he has possession of the ball. He maintains possession of the ball after he falls to the ground. That would constitute a catch right there. Look at that. He still holds on to the football.
At 32 years of age, this 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro receiver, who someday will be enshrined at Canton with a terrific catch. And you're right, Peterson, I don't know what more he could do. The pass had to go there, and that's exactly where it was thrown.
And we talked to Andre Johnson about Case Keenum, and we said, hey, why is it that you now are starting to get touchdowns? We couldn't believe he had gone most of the season without a receiving touchdown. He said, this guy will give me a chance to beat whoever's covering me. Patrick Peterson, great coverage and still
possession,
a great throw.
Both feet down, maintain possession throughout the process. Touchdown.
His 60th career touchdown reception for Andre Johnson. And the Texans within an extra point of tying the game. How about Keenum? He was fun to talk to last night. And if you watch his last 2 games, the kid loves to open it up and is not shy at all. And like we said, he's got a personality that is very contagious. 8-play, 49-yard drive. We're tied at 7 as Bullock knocks it through. Andre Johnson with his 58th reception of the season. As we take you to our CBS studios in New York and James Brown.
Baltimore in overtime. Yes, Justin Tucker, 46-yard field goal, and he hits it right down the middle. Baltimore wins 20-17 in overtime. Baltimore improves to 4-5. Cincy drops to 6-4. Kevin Harlan, Solomon Wilcox.
The former Texas Longhorn kicker putting it through and giving the defending champions a much-needed win. We saw them last week, and they lost in Cleveland.
Yeah, that is something else. It's just they continue to battle in the AFC North Division. And how about these Houston Texans? They're trying to continue to battle. Take a look at that. Cleveland and Cincinnati will square off next week. That'll be a battle to keep your eye on.
So Keenum on that drive, and he finds Andre Johnson in the only place where really he could have, considering the coverage and where he was in the end zone, right on the screws. Keenum 4 of 4 on that drive. And as we welcome our new audience to Glendale, Arizona, we had on the very first play a fumble by the quarterback of the Texans, returned 7 yards for a touchdown, and moments ago a 7-yard touchdown pass to Andre Johnson after a good punt return of 12 and some good completions, and it finally ended up in the gloved hands of Andre Johnson, tying the game at 7. The Texans come in a surprising 2-6. And for those of you just joining us, the Cardinals come in off a bye, 4 up and 4 down. And the coach for the Texans today in an interim acting basis is Wade Phillips for the convalescing Gary Kubiak back in Houston after the mini stroke last week at halftime of the Indianapolis game, watching on television and watching his team just tie the Cardinals at 7 apiece. It's 1st and 10. Mendenhall is in the backfield, and this goes outside. It's caught by Andre Roberts. Shutting up the sideline, and Roberts with his 21st catch of the year. 4th-year player out of the Citadel, racing upfield for 19 and a first down to the 39.
Oh, they're going to set this play up. Look, play action fake over to the left. They come back clear over to the right. They clear out that area of the field to get Roberts wide open because the defense was focused in on Larry Fitzgerald, who was streaking down the sideline. Didn't want him to get deep, and they left Roberts wide open in the flat.
Andre Ellington is the running back, 1st and 10. And Ellington coming off a huge game a couple weeks ago. And the tackle is made by Earl Mitchell, who's out of the University of Arizona. That's a gain of 4 up to the 43. Ellington had 154 on the ground a couple weeks ago against the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, when you talk to Bruce Arians, he says, hey, we want to get Andre Ellington 20 catches or at least 20 touches in this game today because of his speed.
And for our audience just joining us, fumble recovery and 7-yard return by the Cardinals. A touchdown pass of 7 yards to Andre Johnson. We're tied at 7. 2nd down and 6 right here from the 43 for the Cardinals. And Palmer. Grabbed by Michael Floyd, hit out of bounds by Kareem Jackson. It is a gain of 11. Another first down to the Houston 46.
Now, Palmer came into today's game having thrown 14 interceptions in their first 8 games. And we talked to him about it, and even Bruce Arians said not all of it is Carson Palmer's fault. He did cite the poor protection of the offensive line and said that their read-based offense, the wide receivers haven't done a good job of reading the coverage the same as Palmer, and it's led to some inconsistencies in the passing game.
14 interceptions, that's got to change, and Palmer realizes that on 1st and 10 outside with the coverage by Jonathan Joseph, and the pass intended for Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, here's what's happened so far, Kevin. Remember, Matt Shaughnessy, scoop and score, ball on the ground. He picks it up and runs it in after the sack on Case Keenum. That's how the Cardinals got on the scoreboard. Did the touchdown pass from Case Keenum to Andre Johnson. 5 touchdown passes so far in the season for Case Keenum. He gets off to a really good start after the sack, strip, and the fumble. He's gone 5 for 6 in the game.
Mendenhall is in, 2nd down and 10. Rashard Mendenhall, who got outside of Reed, and then he is ripped down across the way by Daryl Sharpton, replacing the injured Brian Cushing. Gain of 5 to the 41.
Oh, the one thing the Cardinals want to do today, they want to be able to run the football. They believe that everything's happened. Look, they're going to be able to seal this, and they get outside. And look, Fitzgerald comes down, and that helps them seal the edge. Good block by Jim Dre, the tight end, 81, and they were able to get Mendenhall to the outside of the defense. 201 rushing yards last time they played Week 8 against Atlanta.
First-year head coach Bruce Arians has done a good job with quarterbacks all over the map. 3rd and 5. Here comes Merciless. There goes Palmer. Wide and incomplete. Looking for Ellington with the coverage by the linebacker Sharpton.
Well, remember, they want to get the ball to Ellington. They said 20 touches today, whether it's running it or catching the ball out of the backfield. Try to get it to him there on third down and were unable to do so.
So on the left, we've got the punter, Dave Zestadil, and on the right, out of Michigan State, Keyshawn Martin. 6 plays punt. Inside, they keep the roof closed most of the regular year. There's a threat of rain in the area, we were told, and that's one of the reasons why. Although you look out, there's a lot of sunny skies. And that's how Zestadil feels right now after that punt with a very fortuitous bounce, 40-yard punt. Late first quarter, another look at Case Keenum. Timeout. Well, Wade Phillips has been a head coach 6 times in his career, 37-year veteran, and there's Bruce Arians. He is the reigning NFL Coach of the Year for what he did in Indianapolis a season ago. With Dennis Johnson in the backfield, Keenum 1st and 10. A block by Jones to the 5. Then hit on the play by Darnell Dockett on a gain of 4.
Kevin, has the Houston Texans come here on the road, we talked about it. They've lost 6 consecutive games, and they've lost a lot of these games with a second-half collapse. Remember, they led last week 21-3 at home against the Colts and ended up losing that game. They're just looking for a spark, as Antonio Smith told us. We just need that one significant moment to turn our season around.
Keenum in his 3rd start today on the practice squad last year. In fact, he would play some cornerback in practice. 2nd down and 6. And again, a little run right there by Dennis Johnson. And for those of you joining us late, there's no gain on the play. And you see the people stocking up along with Calais Campbell inside. As you take a look at the division standings, that's where Houston sits. Colts are getting whacked today by St. Louis, and that is the North and where Arizona is right now.
And as we enter the second half of the season, both teams got to get it going. The Houston Texans certainly in the AFC South, they can catch the Indianapolis Colts, but you got to start by getting a win on the road here today.
Well, it was obviously not the North, although it said that it was the West. Our compass is off. 3rd and 6. Keenum. Incomplete. Looking for Johnson. The coverage on the play by Patrick Peterson. And that drive goes north. 3 and out. They got a punt.
Well covered by Patrick Peterson. Here you see him in the jam, in the bump position against Andre Johnson. Now watch him come out of the break in the hip pocket. Watch he undercuts the route. See, he's going to intercept that. If it's thrown perfectly, he's got himself a pick 6. And that's where Case Keenum, I think, has great instincts. He felt the coverage and threw it right out of bounds. Live to fight another day. Allow Shane Lechler to punt it away.
Let's see how Lechler does right here. Needs some hang time. He's going to get it. For his special teams to rush downfield on Peterson. 34-yard punt. 5.1 hang time. Peterson dancing with a Kaysen block. And then KO, he'll knock him out of bounds. Boy, you've got to keep an eye on number 21. And our referee, Gene Steratore, has been busy. That was a 8-yard return on a beautiful 61-yard hanging punt by Shane Lechler. Cardinals are coming off the bye. And for the Texans, they come in having lost 6 consecutive games after winning their first 2. They've won at least 10 games over the last couple years. So this is obviously a very unexpected season, especially after last year. And what they thought was minimal adjustment. They bring in Ed Reed, who missed all of camp. And then has now been relegated to a dime.
Legal use of hands, hands to the face, return team. Number 43, it's a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down, Arizona. Timeout.
So a timeout taken. We're tied at 7 late in the first. Well, in the NFL salute to service games this weekend, nothing epitomizes that more than the late Pat Tillman, who was a player here for the Arizona Cardinals. Chose service, went overseas. The story well known. And here he was, his life far too short, but epitomizing the very best, not only of the courageousness of an American, but gave up what was a very lucrative career in the NFL to serve his country.
No one has ever sacrificed more than Pat Tillman has for his country, and we salute him as well as all the other servicemen around our country.
Many men and women of the military here today and in all stadiums all over the NFL. So here is the third possession for the Arizona Cardinals. On a 1st and 10 with Ellington in the backfield. Time for Palmer. Deep and caught. Michael Floyd. Brought down by Kareem Jackson. Boy, Palmer right on the money right there to the 38. Picks up 20 and a first down for Arizona.
Kevin, we attended practice on Friday. I got to tell you, I was so impressed with the way this passing game looked. You could see play action and then watch him come out the other way. And he drives it down the field, does Carson Palmer to Floyd. But this is what we saw in practice, just the rhythm of the passing game. The ball never hit the ground, and Palmer was throwing the ball beautifully as everything was caught by his intended receivers. They hoped it would carry over here today.
Terrell McClain now on that defensive line for the Texans in the normal rotation, 1st and 10. Out across the middle, that's Andre Roberts. Hit by Jackson. Upended after a catch and run of about 8. He's down to the 30-yard line.
You can see this offense has got much better rhythm. We talk with Bruce Arians, the head coach. They bring over the system from the Indianapolis Colts. Many of the players talked about that's all they've seen is Andrew Luck and Reggie Wayne from the offense that Arians ran last year in Indianapolis. Taking some time for it to sink in, but you can see they're looking much better here today.
It's 2nd down and 2. Ellington for a block and diving for the stick, and there's Kareem Jackson, who is all over the field. The lead block that time from Dre. Gain of 1 to the 29. And we're talking about the number 29 offense, by the way, through the first half of the year in the NFL of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and they're certainly improving with each and every week.
Fumble recovery touchdown for Arizona. 7-yard touchdown pass to Andre Johnson for the Texans. Tied at 7 at the end of 1. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $100 to each of its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. And earlier this week, as part of the NFL Salute to Service, some members of the Arizona Cardinals visited Luke Air Force Base on Tuesday. Visit included an open meet and greet as well as an F-16 aircraft and hangar tour. Today, Cardinals owner and team president Michael Bidwell has a group of uniformed servicemen and women from Luke Air Force Base as his guests. Also, they are in the stands and enjoying the NFL. We salute you as well from CBS. Starting the second quarter, 3rd and 1. Looked like somebody moved, and it may have been Rob Housley. Let's see.
Ball start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Eric Winston.
It's going to be Winston. I think you'll see right there. He'll get some movement. And jumps just a little bit too soon. You know, the crowd is being savvy about it. They're going to keep the noise down, but you see Winston wasn't able to hold his water.
On this drive, Carson Palmer has it Floyd for 20 through the air. Roberts for 8. 3rd and 6 from the 34. Mendenhall was out. The pass to the side, and it's caught by the receiver. That is Jerron Brown. Only his 8th reception of the year. The rookie free agent from Clemson. It is a gain of 7. They'll put him at the 27 and a first down.
Brown is working against 26 Brandon Harris, man-to-man coverage. The Texans run a lot of man-to-man coverage. That's why the Cardinals felt like they could find the matchups they want. They would be able, if they could protect their quarterback, to make some plays in the passing game. And so far, they're finding good rhythm in the first quarter.
Hey, alert, alert!
Mendenhall is back in. 1st and 10. Trey the block. Here comes Watt. There he goes. It's caught by the just signed tight end Jake Ballard. It's a catch and run of 15 to the 12 and another first down.
13 personnel. Here's the tight end. There's Ballard going to come across the field right there. And look at the pressure as they close in on Palmer. What a nice throw while under duress. Still able to get the ball way across the field, across his body over to Ballard. Again, man-to-man coverage against the linebacker, Joe Mays.
He hasn't played all season. Ballard agreed to a one-year contract after they released D.C. Jefferson, who wore, ironically, the same number. And Joseph is being escorted, as you can see, to the sideline. He is their top cornerback. Brandon Harris, it looks like, has taken his place.
That's not good. You have to have him in there because he plays against the #1 wide receiver for the opposing team each and every week. And in that case, he draws the tough assignment today against Larry Fitzgerald.
McCain is in as well. So there was an injury timeout as his number 29 offense looks to try to rebuild after a week of self-scouting, and that's what all these teams use. When they have the bye, they've got a self-scouting weekend, and that's what Carson Palmer did. Looks like it's paid off. Timeout, injury timeout. Coming off an injury timeout, Palmer said he used the week to look at third down and red zone offense.
Oh, that's where they want to improve. They feel like their offense is getting close to being the kind of offense that can average 27 points a game.
It's 1st and 10 for Carson Palmer. It's off to Hausler. End over end. And into the end zone for a touchdown. A 12-yard touchdown pass. And it goes to Rob Hausler, his first touchdown reception this year.
Just a tight end screen to Hausler. They feel like these tight ends can get what we said is the matchup advantage anytime they're working against the linebacker, but this was just too easy. You know, when you have that bye week, you can work on these specialty plays. Here's Hausler here. He'll come off and check loose. Look, comes loose there, and look at the blocking out in front. Just carving an alley through that secondary.
It's 14-7 Arizona. Hausler, who's playing with a groin injury today, comes up with a touchdown reception. A 6-play, 58-yard drive, and the Cardinals are back on top. There's a look at Carson Palmer, and on that drive, he was 5 of 5, hit 5 different receivers.
And you can see the effects of having spent time during the bye week. He said they had a couple of days of practice where they went full speed one-on-ones, and I think we're seeing huge dividends for the Cardinals offense.
Feely with the kickoff out of the end zone, touchback to the 20. Keenum will come back out there, down by 7, 13:57 in the second. There's Matt Schaub, now the backup quarterback.
Yeah, Matt Schaub, he has been a good mentor to Case Keenum. He talked about it, but his future is uncertain in Houston.
Good time. Tate was in the backfield. 1st and 10 on Drake. Johnson pushed out of bounds by Patrick Peterson. And the gain of 14 on the play up to the 34. That's the first down. And Tuesday on CBS, a person of interest 3-episode event begins. And this time a hero will fall. Don't miss a new person of interest Tuesday at 10. 9 Central, only CBS. 14-yard pickup, first down. He was on the money there too.
Yeah, person of interest right now is Case Keenum. And his ability to extend plays and create all the things that Andre Johnson talked about that they seem to love about this young quarterback.
By the way, Andre Johnson just passed Hines Ward for number 19 all-time receiving yards. 1st and 10. And there's a pass. Hopkins with the grab. Drilled on the play by Jeremiah Bell to the 48-yard line of Arizona. 19-yard pickup.
Play action pass. Now watch they go play action. Just enough to hold the second level of the defense. See Dansby, see Washington, and that's what allow Hopkins to get to that second level, and they find room at the second level of the defense. No one uses the play action fake to hold the defense better than the Houston Texans.
Hopkins is the rookie first-round pick out of Clemson. Top of your screen, 1st and 10. Tate is in. Bend the call. Lead block there by Brooks. Tripped up on the play by Tyrann Mathieu. It's a gain of 6 on the play to the 42-yard line of Arizona.
You see Mathieu, 5'9", coming up on a much larger man, and Ben Tate to wrestle him down. He's an excellent tackler, the back end of the defense. They've got, I think, a lot of playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, but none more instinctive and none with a knack for making more plays than Tyrann Mathieu.
Ryan Harris, by the way, playing the right tackle on this series. 2nd down for Tate. There's a hole, slips by Campbell, grabbed by Dansby, carries him for a first down run of 12, all the way to the 30, and another first down, and that is not a good sign. Kareem Jackson is leaving the field.
The injuries continue to take their toll on this football team for Houston. They're missing a lot of really good players who've been injured and lost by this football team.
Kane took his place during that last series. We assume he'll stay in that place throughout the game. 1st and 10. Keenum being chased by Campbell. And out of bounds. He was looking for his tight end, Garrett Graham. Washington was right on his trail, as was Campbell. Wow. One thing we've been noting is the footwork of Keenum, but these injuries are slowing this team down. This Houston 2-6 team down.
Yeah, 4 Pro Bowlers. Foster already out for the season, and that was just declared as of yesterday with the back injury. Cushing, Owen Daniels, Daniel Manning, all 4 Pro Bowl players now done for the season. It really does take the toll on a football team that's really just trying to gain some footing and some consistency with their play on the field.
In the pistol, 2nd down 10, base defense for the Cardinals. Look out, Tate. And he was slowed up on the play by Dansby, hit by Williams, pickup of 7 to the 23.
You know, one thing when you talk about a young quarterback and their ability to extend plays, you know, Keenum's coming close to getting sacked. I think he needs to speed it up just a little bit and get that ball out. But he was able to get rid of it, was able to get the completion to create a very 3rd and short and manageable 3rd down situation. I'd like to see him speed up his clock just a little bit more to take some of the pressure off this offensive line.
Rashad Johnson comes in the secondary. Williams is out. 3rd and 3, Keenum. And caught on the play, Dennis Johnson down to the 9. A catch and run of 14 for the rookie free agent out of Arkansas. 1st and goal, Texans.
I asked Keenum, what have you learned these first 2 games? He said, just take what the defense gives me. This is doing exactly that. Flipping it over to Johnson right in front of him. Didn't try to force the ball down the field into the end zone. Creates a first down by taking what the defense give him with an easy completion to Johnson.
He's a nice change of pace back, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what he can give him.
Tate is in. 1st and goal. Jones with the block. Tate with the stiff arm. And Matthew will wrestle him down near the 2. Ben Tate had 81 yards in that game against Indy. 7-yard gain right there.
This offensive line has their hands full trying to keep Darrell Washington from shooting those gaps and getting to Ben Tate or the running back in their backfield. It's a very aggressive defensive front. Todd Bowles, their defensive coordinator, he allows them to play with some great deal of freedom, but you know, their ability to set the edge defensively when defending the run and then get penetration allows them to play at a high level. 5th best run defense in the NFL.
Personnel problems right there for the Cardinals. Trouble with some substitutions. Knocking on the door of the Texans, down by 7. Well, we have a 2nd down and goal at the 2 here for the Texans.
Yeah, down inside the red zone. They like to go to the tight ends, but you can't forget about Andre Johnson.
Tate is in. The block by Brown, the left tackle, wide open. You called it. Touchdown grab by Ryan Griffin. 2-yard pass. The first NFL touchdown for the rookie out of UConn. And an extra point will separate the teams.
It's all about play action fake. No one does it better than the Houston Texans, and no one goes to the tight ends more. You can see them come across after the play fake. And take a look at it. Linebackers bite on the fake, and look, he's wide open. No one even covers him. And it's just about the deceptive play fake. Case Keenum faking it on the run play.
Keenum has thrown 2 touchdown passes, and we are tied with Bullock knocking it in. 9:37 in the second, a 9-play, 80-yard drive. Andre Johnson caught 1 for 14, Hopkins for 19. And then this one in the back of the end zone to rookie Ryan Griffin.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the new 4-door Fiat 500L. Man of Steel. Own the Blu-ray or digital HD Tuesday. And by Papa John's. official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
We're all tied at 14 here in Arizona. Now, what is a play-action pass and why is it so hard to defend? Well, while the defense responds to the run fake, the wide receiver is quickly gaining ground. And as the defenders move toward the line of scrimmage to stop the run, the wide receiver is busy running past the secondary. So play-action is a deceptive run fake meant to lure the secondary out of position to create big pass plays. We saw it in a small way down on the goal line. That's Carl Durrell, the offensive coordinator for these Houston Texans, quarterback coach as well, talking to Case Keenum. And boy, no one does the play-action pass better than these Houston Texans. They can set up a secondary as good as any.
With Kubiak not here, Rick Dennison calling the plays today has called a good game. Javier Arenas will take it out. And here he goes, flying up the sideline, and then there's Bullock with a little headbutt on the side, the former Chief and Alabama player. Up the sideline, 40-yard return, flag is down, Gene's territory.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 13, half the distance to the goal, first down Arizona.
That's Jerron Brown, the rookie free agent out of Clemson. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JP, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. He'll have the news, the scores, and the highlights of a busy day in the NFL. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report from our CBS studios in New York. So, hidden yards here. The 29 yards lost due to the penalty pushes the Cardinals back to their 4, where Palmer will have it first down and 10.
And Palmer's got to be careful. We told you he's thrown an interception in all 8 games this season. Nothing undermines a great effort of your football team than turnovers.
Michael Floyd, questionable right shoulder. So Andre Roberts is in. First and 10. Ellington. Now down the play by Turpinian. And a gain of 4 on the play, and he's up to about the 8. Turpinian changed his number before the game on us.
Yeah, he did. I don't know why. We don't get the explanation. We're all scrambling, trying to figure it out. You take a look at Ellington, like there, Turpinian there, had worn number 90. Now he traded it in for 52. These players are kind of superstitious. They want their number. I can't blame them.
Tavares Gooden was released. He was 52. Second down and 5.
Lefty, lefty. Lefty, lefty, lefty.
We'll see who's lucky right here. Palmer. Pocket crumbles, going deep and intercepted. Swearinger got it at the 45. And I guess he felt he was touched because it looked like almost he grabbed it and fell and then let the ball free. But Swearinger, the rookie out of South Carolina, with his first NFL interception.
Swearinger's locked up against Rob Hausler, number 84, running with the tight end. Palmer takes a shot, expects Hausler to contest for the ball, but look, DJ Swearinger comes down with it. Bruce Arians talked about this. He says, when our quarterback gives our receivers an opportunity to make a play, they can't let the other guy come down with the ball. This has been a repeated sort of failing on the offense, not only on the quarterback, but you can see he's the only starting quarterback to throw an interception in every game so far this season.
Only the Giants have been intercepted more than the Cardinals. It's first down and 10. Tate in the backfield. Case Keenum with the handoff. Jones the block, and the slithering Tate brought down by Williams. And a gain of 4 on the play to the 41 of Arizona.
And with Arian Foster out, Ben Tate doing a wonderful job. You take a look at Carson Palmer. I'm sure they're going to continue to talk about it. That's one thing they worked on during the bye week. But if the Houston Texans get the run game going with Ben Tate, without Arian Foster, that makes the game so much easier for their first-year quarterback, Case Keenum, to start throwing the ball down the field with play-action pass shots.
Pistol, second down, short 6. They crawl through. Keenum with good footwork and on the money and caught by Posey, kneeling at the 29.
Do you see him extend plays? You see how he just moves so effortlessly out of the pocket, getting out to his right. Now he's surveying and look, finding receivers down the field. This is what Case Keenum gives his offense that, quite frankly, Matt Schaub was not a good move guy, wasn't real mobile, wasn't able to extend plays in the same way that Case Keenum is able to do in this offense.
Pistol again, first and 10 from the 29. Into the nickel. Tate. Myers the block, and then he is devoured by Darnell Dockett. No gain on the play.
Ben Tate swallowed up that time by Dockett, but Tate's one of those guys as a backup running back. Yeah, he's ready for more without Arian Foster. You see him only his 4th career start, but averaging 4.9 yards a carry, up there with some of the best running backs in the National Football League since 2011.
And he's got cracked ribs.
Yeah, he's playing high pain threshold. It's Ben Tate.
Pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
2nd down and 11. Underneath. Tate bobbled it and couldn't reel it in. It'd be tough to with Dansby out on your heels and Dockett right there. Got the incompletion to Tate, 4 years out of Auburn. If you're joining us late, Arian Foster, again scratched and probably shelved for the rest of the year with back surgery. Not too far away for him. He's finished.
Yeah, and he was so good as a runner, but he was also good catching the ball out of the backfield, so his presence is going to be missed. But give Case Keenum a lot of credit. He spread the ball around to 8 different receivers so far in the ball game, and he's completed 11 passes, so he's an equal opportunity quarterback.
They need the 19, 3rd and 11, into the nickel. Keenum chased by Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell can't get him, and it's out of bounds, but he did pressure him. They were looking for Andre Johnson. And Calais Campbell on that line, applying just enough. And now they'll try for 3, so the defense of Arizona does its job.
Take a look at number 93, Calais Campbell. He's a budding star also on this defense. Look at him come off. Look at the speed of the big man, giving everything he's got to get a hand on Case Keenum, forcing the incompletion.
Well, this kid has had a tough week. He misses last week against the Indianapolis Colts. We'll try one here from 48 yards away. He's missed 2 in a row. And he gets that to crawl in. And 3 on the board. And Houston has taken their first lead today. With 6:31 to play in the first half, a 48-yard field goal. And you feel good for Randy Bullock, 2 years out of Texas A&M. The rookie Swearinger with his first NFL pick. Then we have the 48-yard field goal by Bullock. So Houston 10 unanswered points. They have their first lead and 6:31 to play here in the first half.
Oh, this defense, we told you, is one of the best in the National Football League. Their ability to get turnovers, that's one thing that's really kind of ailed them throughout the 2013 season. So when you can get turnovers, you help a really good offense. And there is DJ Swearinger coming up with only their 6th takeaway of the season to set up the Texans for more points on the scoreboard.
Beautiful Phoenix fantasy football fans get a fresh start with Player Challenge, a 4-week game that now includes even bigger cash prizes. See rules and sign up at cbssports.com/challenge. Green Jackson out, injured ribs. McCain takes his place. It's 1st and 10. Mendenhall. And he tries to carve out a couple. Hit on the play by Tarpinian. It is a gain of 3 to the 22.
And Larry Fitzgerald has yet to catch a pass today as he's being defended by Jonathan Joseph. They've targeted him twice. He's yet to be able to haul one in. We talked to Bruce Arians. He said that, they've got to stop forcing it into Larry. Felt like it contributed to the high interception number that you see for Carson Palmer. I think he quoted that there are more passes intercepted when Larry Fitzgerald has been targeted. He's in that range.
They were moving there. That baby's blown dead in mid-motion. By the way, Tarpinian is in for Joe Mays. We don't know why. We'll try to follow that up. But Mays is out and Tarpinian is in.
False start. Offensive right tackle. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
That's Eric Winston. 2nd one on him.
Oh, here's Larry Fitzgerald matched up against Jonathan Joseph, taking away inside leverage. Is Joseph coming out in the hip pocket, but also getting some help over the top. Breaking on every ball in the underneath routes is Jonathan Joseph, but good technique. Look, stemming the tide and breaking the timing of the route by Larry Fitzgerald. So these two are going to be going at it all day.
We're told from the media relations staff that Mays is out, just part of the rotation, and this is a draw play on 2nd and 12. Ellington, look at him, weave downfield, brought down by Brooks Reed. A burst to the 41. A pickup of 23 and a first down for Arizona.
Ellington's so explosive, he gets beyond. Look at the right tackle, 73, Eric Winston. Throws him by Brooks Reed, and now he wants to get behind him. He's like, get out of my way. Either block someone or move. And Winston does both. He blocks someone and he gets down to allow Ellington to get even more yards on that game. Good blocking and just really good job of Ellington setting up the blockers in front of him.
He had an 80-yard touchdown run in that game a couple weeks ago here against Atlanta. Cardinals coming off a bye. First and 10. Palmer's thrown a touchdown in the pick, and here he goes deep again. Incomplete for Ellington with the coverage by Tarpinian. Now, this Tarpinian's kind of an interesting story because he was signed off the Carolina practice squad late October. He didn't play against the Indianapolis Colts, and here he is seeing some quality snaps here for the Texans today.
Yeah, you put a linebacker on Ellington in space, you better have some wheels. And Tarpinian was right there in his hip pocket, but got to give these linebackers some help over the top with the safeties providing double coverage on Ellington.
Tarpinian played for Belichick at New England for a couple games. Second down and 10. Here they come. Blitz picked up. Palmer belted short and uncatchable for the receiver. That was Jerron Brown. It's third down and 10.
Well, I tell you what, they did a really good job of picking up the blitzing linebacker on that play was Mendenhall, but still the pocket collapsing around Carson Palmer. You know, Palmer doesn't move as well as he used to when he was much younger. We're not seeing him able to maybe extend plays, buy a little bit more time. He was forced to launch that one before he was ready.
And Kareem Jackson is out. McCain will take his place if you're just joining us. Nickel secondary now for the Texans. Third down and 10. In again, and that is caught and grabbed by Fitzgerald. Grabbed on the play by defensive back Brandon Harris. 13-yard pickup. Flag is down, shy of the first down.
Oh,
I'm sorry, they got the first, although they're going to mark it back because of the penalty.
Yep.
Where they threw the flag and where the tackle was made, looked like maybe he didn't get it, but the yardage would have been there. But because of the flag, it looks like it's going to go. And again, we have another conference against the Cardinals.
Pass interference, offense, number 11, 10-yard penalty, replay, third down.
Well, we told you, double coverage on Larry Fitzgerald. Watch him come off, and DJ Swearinger, 36, jumps inside with the leverage right there. They said there was a push-off. Both guys was kind of hand fighting, and the separation was provided because Fitzgerald also pushed off, was able to break off the coverage and make a reception, but it's going to come back.
Fitzgerald, the youngest player in league history to get to 800 career receptions. You see the third down conversion right there. Third and 20, they need the Texan. 49, Ed Reed is in. They're in the dime. 6 defensive backs. Palmer. And that is caught by Fitzgerald. He's grabbed by Sharpton and by Reed. It's a gain of 11, well shy of the first, and they're going to have to punt.
Talk about that dime coverage. They come in with 3 safeties. Ed Reed has called himself the 6th man. He's no longer a starter, had been benched, but they say he's handled it like a real pro, Kevin, and accepted and embraced his role.
Zastudil to punt. Almost blocked. Keyshawn Martin is back for the Texans. And that, I think, is outside the pylon. It is. It's a spot at the 1. That's the second punt today for Zastudil at the 1. Boy, has he been on target. People don't sometimes pay much attention to the punters, but where they place the ball is huge. A 57-yarder for Zastudil.
All right, goes from being a disaster to a devastating punt for the Houston Texans. It was nearly blocked, and Keyshawn Martin decides not to field it. Look, it hits around the 4-yard line and bounces out. The official's right on top of it and able to mark it appropriately.
Back into right tackle now is Derek Newton, 75. He's going back and forth with Harris. In the backfield, Dennis Johnson. Keenum first and 10. Doesn't blink. Looks deep. Andre Johnson. And incomplete with coverage by Patrick Peterson. And Tyrann Mathieu, 2nd and 10.
All right, this is a great matchup in and of itself. Patrick Peterson against the great one, Andre Johnson. Turns open the hip. Watch the hand fighting as the ball arrives. The ability to just hold that backhand. And look, that one nearly completed. Just a really good ball thrown by Case Keenum, allowing Andre Johnson just an opportunity to make a play against a great cover corner in Patrick Peterson.
Look at Johnson. What about Peterson? Says he talks a lot with Larry Fitzgerald about what other receivers might do.
They work against one another during the week to prepare for his coverage assignment to cover Johnson.
2nd down and 10. Not a lot of room right there for Dennis Johnson. It's a gain of 3 on the play. And
so Andre Johnson against Patrick Peterson. 2 catches on the day for Andre Johnson. He does have a touchdown. That one nearly intercepted. And this one you can see. Look, Peterson right there in his hip pocket. But on this one where he clears over to the other side of the field, look at that great throw by Keenum. That one's uncoverable. I don't care what you do if you're Patrick Peterson, but he's giving Andre Johnson all he can handle. This is an excellent battle in this game today.
Keenum has thrown a couple touchdown passes today. Has it 3rd down and 7. Round the block at the left tackle. Oh, and it was almost picked up, and it's picked up on the play by DeAndre Hopkins on the ricochet. Brought down by Gerard Powers. A 22-yard reception to the 26. 1st down. Wow.
Oh, yeah, Kevin. I think it was Dansby, 56. Left side of your screen. Look, he has an opportunity to intercept it right in the hands. Ricochets off him, goes over the head of Jeremiah Bell. Hopkins comes down with it. Very fortunate for the Houston Texans. Should have been intercepted by Carlos Dansby.
Hopkins has had receptions of 19 and right there 22. Texans by 3. The 2-minute warning. Coming up from New York, the Verizon halftime report with JP Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for the latest NFL scores, news, and highlights. Next, the Verizon halftime right here on CBS. 22-yard pickup on a deflected ball to the wide receiver Hopkins from Case Keenum, making his 3rd start in the pistol. 1st and 10, 26. 3 timeouts. Moves up nicely. Tate. And on a track there, Carlos Dansby, who is the leading tackler, on a gain of 1. 4-4 Cardinals. One of the reasons why has not been the offense, but rather the very good Cardinal defense.
Yeah, despite their offense turning it over, this defense is very good at taking the ball away. They entered today's game tied for 3rd in the NFL with 12 interceptions defensively for Bruce Arians. And over the last year and a half, 34 interceptions in their last 24 games. So no defense is better than taking the ball away over the last year and a half or so than these Arizona Cardinals.
Their coordinator is Todd Bowles. 2nd down 9 into the nickel. Caught by DeAndre Hopkins. And whacked down the play by Darrell Washington on a gain of 3 to the 30.
One of the things that makes them so good, obviously, their defensive front, but on the back end, we talked about it, so many playmakers. They all have excellent ball skills.
3rd and 6. And that's caught by Graham. Knocked out of bounds by Powers. He stops the clock. He gets the first, a pickup of 10 to the 42.
You know, Houston feel like they can take advantage of some of these matchups. We've seen the tight ends get open. And if you're going to cover the tight ends with their linebackers, Wade Phillips in, we've got to make those plays.
Timeout Texans. Bullock, who had trouble last week, you look at the target line where they've got to get. He's already kicked a career-long tying 48-yarder today after the timeout. 1st and 10. Oh, they got him. And they bring him down. Marcus Bernard. Matt Shaughnessy, and that may be...
They're going to say it's a sack. There was no one in that area where Case Keenum threw the football. They're going to talk about it because he still was in the pocket. It was not outside the framework of the tackle. There was no intended receiver where the ball was.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Number 80 was in the area. 2nd down.
Well, he saw an 80 in the area where I did it. Gene Steratore on top of his job.
Bruce Arians does not like that.
Bruce Arians kind of feels the same way I feel about it, but nonetheless.
Well, I know why you feel that way. You're a former defensive back.
Yeah, but I try to do it right down the middle, Kev.
Be objective. Please be objective. 2nd down and 10. 5 defensive backs. Mathieu gets away from Campbell, kind of, and then he throws it away. Calais Campbell has been very disruptive. There is the flag.
Okay.
Late, but thrown. Nobody home on the sideline.
Calais Campbell, very disruptive. You talked about it. He's been in Case Keenum's face all day long.
Has 4 sacks.
Intentional grounding. Offense. Number 7. Spot foul. Loss of down. 3rd down.
We'll take a look at it, and let's go ahead and roll it off the top and see if there's a receiver over in the area. They're saying no one was there. Now you got someone right here, but that one goes clear out of bounds. Now, I thought he had a man closer in that area than on the previous play.
Look at that. Yeah, right. Keenum today, 15 of 23. 2 touchdown passes. Right now, they need the 48 of Arizona. 3rd and 25. Boy, they're coming up the middle. They're coming now with Bernard from the side. Now he does throw it away. And he had Tate in the vicinity. He was outside. It is incomplete. And they'll have to punt. After beginning at their 1 and getting a Hopkins gain of 22 through the air and Graham for 10. Little breathing space, but now to punt will be Shane Leckler.
We'll give credit to the likes of Calais Campbell and this defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. They turned up the heat on those sequence of plays that you just saw. Getting pressure in the face of Case Keenum. He's forced to cause mistakes, or I should say commit mistakes with the football.
Leckler. Patrick Peterson. Drifting to the 12. Hang time 4-7-8. Swearinger ushers him out of bounds. Got to keep your eyes on Patrick Peterson. He's made the Pro Bowl as a kick returner and as a cornerback 61-yard punt. Hey fans, this week don't miss the show that's in a league by itself with guys who take on all 32 teams and each other every week. James Brown, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth with the artistry of NFL films and the chemistry of the guys. Inside the NFL, the show the pros watch. Wednesday at 9 only on Showtime. Now Feely is practicing with the target line right there.
Yeah, 2 timeouts in their hip pocket for Arizona.
5 defensive backs. Make it 6. There goes a flag. 6 defensive backs.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's the veteran left guard, Darren College.
And nothing derails the opportunity to get a momentum or at least some kind of scoring drive than to have a penalty on the first play. Got to be very upsetting for Bruce Arians.
College came here as an unrestricted free agent from Green Bay, now 1st and 15. Reed is in, 6 in the defensive secondary for the Texans. Carson Palmer. And looking for Fitzgerald with the coverage on the play by Brandon Harris. Incomplete.
That was excellent coverage by Harris. Boy, watch how he comes out of the route. See, he undercuts the route, and what you do on the out route. Had he got his head around sooner, might have been able to make a play on the ball, still able to bat it away and keep Larry Fitzgerald from coming down with it. Good coverage.
He's out of Miami, 2nd-round pick. Dad was a high school coach in Florida with him, where he was the high school player of the year. 2nd down, 15. Needing the 43. He has time. Knocked away and recovered by Watt. J.J. Watt, the reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Another turnover for the Cardinals. And look at where the Texans take over. 1st and 10 at the 22.
Wow, that's all you can say, because Bradley Soule, the left tackle, is trying to block him. Now watch him come all the way around. Not only will he strip the ball, he'll recover it. Take a look at this. He'll go right around him, knock the hands down. And that's how he's able to turn the corner. Look, the swat, and then the pounce on the football. That's just a playmaker making a play on the defensive side of the ball.
That's his 6th sack, his 32nd sack in his career. Leading tackler. He has had a terrific season. Even though the numbers aren't bulging, his presence is a great season. In the pistol. 1st and 10. That pass is caught by Lestar, Gene, and then dropped. Ooh, incomplete.
Tyrann Mathieu. Didn't they used to call him the honey badger at LSU? You can kind of see why. He's everywhere. He's a hitter.
And he just became a starter, too, on this defense.
Really good ball player. Take a look, just the timing of this one to be able to, look at that, get that ball out. That's an incomplete. That ball would have been caught had he not come with such tenacity to lay a lick on Lestar Jean.
No Posey. Jean, bottom of your screen, second down and 10. Dennis Johnson in the pistol with the quarterback, Keenum. And same thing, this time for Johnson. Coverage on the play by Darrell Washington.
Wow, you love the way these Cardinals play defense. They defend every blade of grass. Watch the combination route between Andre Johnson and then Graham. See how they switch off there? They zone it off, and then Washington takes the outside receiver. And you say, how can a linebacker recover a receiver? All they did was match up their zone, and he was able to take the shorter route and was able to get the ball out. Washington is one heck of a player. He gets it done, whether it's sacks, interceptions, or tackles.
He played at TCU. He's been to the Pro Bowl. Fourth year in the NFL for Washington. Now third down and 10. Timeout taken. Houston has one left. 27 seconds. Fumble recovery by Watt gives him this great position. Smiling JJ on the sideline after that timeout. Texans with one remaining. Third and 10. Johnson remains the running back. Jean is on the move. Dennis Johnson. Oh, Rick, beautifully on that play by Marcus Bernard. No gain on the play. The expatriate and Cleveland Brown linebacker Bernard. The tackle at the line of scrimmage. The 22. They're going to try here for 3.
Look, the way Bernard retraced his steps to come back and make that play. They're going to use their timeout when it gets down to, what, 4 seconds there.
So a field goal coming up from Houston to extend their lead in 4 seconds to play. Well, you can see that he's missed a lot this year, including some real tough ones last week. They brought in kickers on Tuesday. They signed no, and that's blocked. That is blocked. How about that? I think it must have been Justin Bethel who came through and blocked it, and we remain at halftime 17-14 Houston. Let's see who comes through. 31.
Yeah, at the bottom of the screen.
Yep,
that's right. Wow. Just making a play for your team. That's special teams coming through after the J.J. Watt forced fumble and recovery. They get the ball in range to put points on the board, but Bethel keeps them from knocking one through the uprights.
So special teams, again, a problem for the Texans. Not keeping out the rush, and there is a happy Bruce Arians. That's the end of the first half. Keenum 2 touchdown passes, Palmer with 1. Back with the Verizon halftime report as you're watching the NFL on CBS. Case Keenum with a couple of touchdown passes. 17-14 the Houston Texans at halftime here outside of Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona. Let's now take a look at the first half performance presented by Intel. And on the very first play of the game, Abraham knocks it away. Shaughnessy reels it in and takes it home. Kevin Harlan, Solomon Wilcots, and that is how we started things here. They got off with a bang.
Yeah, and Case Keenum was able to overcome that first play of the game where he fumbled, and of course it resulted into a touchdown for the Arizona Cardinals. He's really on track to doing what he's done in the first 2 starts. Already over 150 yards passing in the first half, 2 touchdown passes, playing a well of a game to keep his team in it. Remember, they're trying to snap a 6-game losing streak, and so they've got to be able to score points in the second half. And Kevin, the Texans have only scored 1 touchdown in the second half of their last 6 ball games. They've got to produce points in the second half here today.
So here we go, and Bullock will get things started. And Javier Arenas, you'll watch it sail overhead into the 20-yard line with a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10. We've got a Texan player down, and it's the player who caught a touchdown back in the first half, Ryan Griffin. As you take a look at through 30 minutes of football, some of our numbers in Glendale today.
Texans off to a good start, dominating in time of possession and in total yards. But remember, last week at home against the Colts, they had a 21-3 lead at halftime and ended up being outscored by the Colts 24-3 in the second half of that ball game. They cannot have that happen again here today. And we told you, trying to snap this 6-game losing streak, it's the second half of these games is where they have tended to struggle.
Griffin is the player down. He caught that touchdown pass, 2-yarder. He's on the hash on the right. And you can see he's going to get T-boned right there.
Wow.
Kevin Minter, it looks like, is the one who got him the rookie out of LSU. And so Ryan Griffin, who was a 2-time second-team All-Big East tight end at UConn, and the second all-time leading receiver for a tight end at UConn. Let's watch it again here.
There he is, right top of your screen, left side, right there.
He felt it as he began to kind of ready himself for the hit. But boy, that's a tough one when you're running downfield. These guys, I know you played special teams during your 7-year NFL career, but boy, it is violent and it is hard.
And as you can see on that play, we used to have this saying, keep your head on a swivel.
Yes.
That's it. You got to see them coming from the left, coming from the right, and coming from in front of you.
By the way, you can tell your kids that same thing too. Keep your head on a swivel.
Particularly when you're teaching them how to drive,
Absolutely. You're exactly right. Again, Jackson is out. McCain will take his place. He's on the move right there, number 21. And a quick hitter, Fitzgerald. Brought down by Jonathan Joseph on a gain of 5 up to the 25-yard line.
You can see the first half possessions for the Arizona Cardinals. They've had to punt it 3 times. They have had 2 turnovers. The interception by Carson Palmer on the 4th possession, and then the fumble to set up a potential field goal that didn't happen.
Mendenhall in the backfield. Richard Mendenhall wrapped up and brought down by Sharpton on a gain of a yard to the 26.
See J.J. Watt making plays. His defense, Sharpton also being able to knife in, setting up the 3rd and 4th play. Carson Palmer's got to get his offense on the go. We talked about the turnovers there in the second quarter. It's really derailed their opportunity to play at a high level on offense.
Ed Reed has come in. Into 6 defensive backs. Palmer, 3rd and 4, and almost grabbed right there for a second time today by Swearinger. He was there. It was almost his. It's 4th down. The Cardinals have got a punt.
Swearinger doing a really good job of breaking on the ball. Over to the left side of Palmer, defending against Roberts. Look, he's knifing in underneath. He's just beating the receiver to the spot. Already 1 interception on the day against Carson Palmer.
Zastadil to punt once again for the Arizona Cardinals, and deep back is Keyshawn Martin. Little hang time, flag is down, it's returnable. And then he bells it on the play after a 7-yard return by Jim Dre and a 45-yard punt with a hang time of 3-9, and a busy day for Gene Steratore, who also is a college basketball referee from Pennsylvania.
During the kick, holding, return team number 21. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Houston. Timeout.
Bryce McCain guilty, much to the chagrin of Wade Phillips, taking the place of our friend Gary Kubiak. 13:34 in the 3rd. So 3 and out for the Arizona Cardinals to begin this second half. Here comes Case Keenum, and here come the Houston Texans, the number 8 offense in the NFL. Isn't it weird? They're number 1 in defense, number 8 in offense, yet they're 2 and 6.
Yes, the anomaly, a top 10 offense, a top 10 defense, but yet they find themselves at 2 and 6 in the midst of a 6-game losing streak.
Ryan Harris is the right tackle as they continue to revolve there. 1st and 10, fake the tape. Time for Keenum, and almost picked off. Almost grabbed. They were going for Tate, and that guy right there has been very active. That's Darrell Washington. Flag is down on that first down throw.
Legal use of hands of the face, offense. Number 89, 10-yard penalty, 3 play. First down.
That was Jake Byrne who was in there blocking. He got caught.
Top of your screen. Take a look at it. Right there. Right there, hands to the face.
We're going to push that ball all the way back to the 6.
Huge penalty.
We just got word that Ryan Griffin is out, concussion. It's 1st and 18. It was a spot foul. Half the distance. In the pistol, Tate. Brown trying to block, Wade trying to block. There's no place to hide, no place to run. Dockett leading the brigade, loss of 2 on the play.
Kevin, we talked about that 6-game losing streak. This is how bad things have been. They've gone from bad to worse, where they pretty good in the first half, where the point differential is a -9, but in the second half they've been outscored 94-19 in the second half, which is a -75 points in the second half. That's just a huge hole, and they need to improve their ability to score points and stop the opposing offense from putting points on the board.
2nd down and 20. Jones trying to block for his teammate Tate, who only picks up 2 on the play, and hit by middle man on that defensive line, Dan Williams, out to about the 7-yard line.
Case Keenum is faced with some of the same things you saw last week. Got him off to a great start last week at home against Indy. Had 3 touchdown passes in the first half of that game, and they only put 3 points on the board in the second half. Today, I told you, it's imperative they put points on the board in the second half here on the road in Arizona.
It's 3rd and 18. They need the 26. For a 3rd down team with long distances to go. Keenum. Brown was holding up Bernard. Here comes the running Houston Cougar quarterback for the Texans, Keenum. He picks up 7. Little bit of breathing space for Leckler, but they're going to have to punt on their first possession of the second half.
You love the poise and calm demeanor that Case Keenum has. He understood he needed to speed up that clock in his head, got out of the pocket. He had a receiver trying to cross to that side of the field, could not make it, so he's forced to tuck it and run, and they're going to punt it.
Just saw Peterson. He's back at the 34. Indoors here. Leckler will get the long snap from John Weeks. Pleasant lost his helmet walking. Peterson from the 31. Hang time of 4-9. And brought down on the play after a 55-yard punt by Brian Brayman, who's a really good special teams performer. 10-yard return. Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald back out there for the Cardinals, down by 3. I love cactuses. Tonight on 60 Minutes, the Beatles, JFK, and other American icons captured by one of their favorite photographers. Behind-the-scenes stories only on 60 Minutes tonight. Only CBS.
Cactuses, cacti, which one would you go with? Is this more singular or plural?
I think I like a lone cactus.
Okay.
They're the two coaches, and we know that Gary Kubiak is watching back home, and Solomon and I have done many of his games over the years. There's not a nicer man. We had a very nice conversation, too, with Wade Phillips and Bruce Arians. Guys we've known for a long time. It's one of the best parts of our job.
Very good coaches. Really about helping their teams and players get better.
Wildcat, yep. It was a fake to Peterson. And you saw the subsequent run. It was good for 5, and Ellington is the one that got it. Andre Ellington, who's a rookie 6th-round pick out of Clemson. And when they got Peterson in there, boy, buckle up. You never know where it's going to go or what's going to happen.
Carson Palmer still on the sideline. They're going to continue to go with the Wildcat. And this is the kind of thing you can get done when you have a bye week. You come off the bye, you expect the team to maybe show a wrinkle that you haven't shown before.
Patrick Peterson is in. Ellington, the running back, in the Wildcat on a 2nd down and 5. Here comes Peterson. There goes Ellington. A block from his tight end, Dre. And then Mays brings him down. Even with the bad oblique that knocked him out earlier, it's a 7-yard gain. It's a 1st down to the 47.
And you might ask, okay, well, why are they not giving the ball to Peterson? See, they're reading the defense. They're pulling the guard, pulling the backside tight end, Jim Dre, and they're able to have that lead power play where he's just plunging it right up in there. They will get the ball to Peterson at some point.
Here we go again, the Wildcat. Peterson He breaks a tackle of Watt. He runs outside. See, Swearinger, I think, is the spy. Don't you think on plays like that? Because last time he was ready to steal off the edge, and that time makes a great tackle on a 4-yard loss.
He's a spy, but he's not undercover. Look at him come up right there to contain the play. Now, that's just a really good play. And he was all over it. There's J.J. Watt, who's able to get some penetration and try to get at the feet of Patrick Peterson. Excuse me.
I like Swearinger. He's got an interception today, and he's an active kid in that second.
Very active, plays ferocious. He's coming downhill to make a tackle.
Palmer back in, second down, 14. Mendenhall was in the backfield. That was Swearinger again. And he had all kinds of traffic, and they drove the former Texan Winston right back in the lap with great pressure up the middle. 3rd and 14 coming up.
And had Palmer gotten that ball out the way he wanted, Swearinger would have picked it off. He read the route, the combination of routes perfectly, and he was right in position to get an interception. Watch Winston right into the back. Both he and Saul, both tackles, pitched in on their quarterback.
Swearinger played for Steve Spurrier at South Carolina. 3rd and 14. Alfonso Smith in the backfield providing a block. Palmer sends one with a laser downfield. Andre Roberts. He's got the first down. Mark him at the 34. 17-yard pickup and a first down for the Cardinals.
And this is what Palmer needs. You give him a clean pocket, now he'll pick you apart. So what Wade Phillips said, he's a good quarterback with great experience and can make all the throws, but he does need a clean pocket in order to play consistently at a high level. That time, the offensive line provided the time to throw the ball.
Roberts with the grab, his 3rd today, 23 for the year. 1st and 10. Ellington blocked by Winston, and the tackle made by Crick. Jared Crick on the line, and it's a gain of 4. They'll put him at the 31.
And right now, this Arizona Cardinals offense is on the move. 6 plays, 29 yards, doing a really good job of mixing in the run and the pass plays. And when they provide time for Carson Palmer, he can stand in the pocket without trash at his feet. He's throwing some pretty good passes.
Clear the trash.
5-1, circle.
Second down and 6. They come again, and here goes the pass, and there's a flag. They were going for Roberts. Ko was there. McCain was there. And they got the flag. It's going to be on Houston.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 21, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
McCain taking the place of Kareem Jackson.
Remember, once the wide receiver is 5 yards down the field, you can't touch them, you can't bump them, you can't knock them off their routes. McCain was underneath bumping and moving and just really jousting with Roberts as he was trying to clear to the other side of the field. You can see right there, that's where he turned him, grabbed him, and then let him go.
Max 5-1. Go.
Mendenhall in on 1st and 10. There's a bit of a gap. Watt, gain of 2. Down to the 23.
Oh, just nice power run play that time by the Arizona Cardinals. Getting some movement up front right now, aren't they?
They are, yes.
That's what Bruce Arians wants. You can see him calling in the plays. He talked about it. If we can just run the football, he feels like that's something they're going to need to do in order to play well within a division where you're going up against good defenses in the NFC West like Seattle and San Francisco.
Ko taking out. Brandon Harris taking his place in the secondary. 2nd down and 8. It's Fitzgerald. Grabbed out there by Jonathan Joseph. He was a big-time free agent signed a couple years ago. It's a gain of 7 on the play, and they're down to the Houston Texans 16.
Nice looking play on the bubble screen, just getting it over to Fitzgerald. Big body receiver who can run with it. Jonathan Joseph told us there that's the one thing that Larry Fitzgerald will do. He keeps working on every single play, and he loves creating yards after the catch. 3rd and 1. I think they go with that power run play with all the tight ends they have loading up in the box.
They got 4 of them. Mendenhall is in. Rashard Mendenhall, Swearinger, and then he broke the tackle of Reed. And he works his way like bouncing off people like a ping pong ball. No gain on the play. 4th down. They're going to go for 3 and the Texan defense does their job and holds them.
You know, sometimes when you bring in all these tight ends and Fitzgerald's a big body receiver, the defense can bring more defenders to the box. Look at Swearinger. He's a secondary member, but making plays in the backfield of the Arizona Cardinals.
So here is the veteran Jay Feely. He's made 13 consecutive field goals in 28 of 29 going back to last year. A 35-yarder, and it ties the game at 6:06 in the third. The pass to Roberts for 17 sets up the 35-yard field goal, tied in Glendale.
Far this season, we've seen a coming out party for some young quarterbacks. How about Geno Smith? He's provided us with 4 come-from-behind wins and even a win over the Patriots. And Terrell Pryor's signature moment came week 8 with a 90-plus-yard run against the Steelers defense. Nick Foles at his coming-out party last week with a record-tying 7 touchdown passes. The Houston Texans, well, they're hoping Case Keenum's 3 touchdown passes in the first half of last week's game is a sign of things to come for their young quarterback. If he can put points on the board here in the second half and help them get a win and break a 6-game losing streak, it may be his coming out party.
He's thrown 6 touchdown passes and no interceptions. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
For a kid who is on the practice squad and undrafted, he's got to be one of the smallest in size. One of the smallest quarterbacks in the NFL. Feely sends it down. It goes into the hands of the fullback and the up man here, Greg Jones, who is tripped up on the play by Justin Bethel, who blocked the field goal earlier in the game. 17-yard return. Case Keenum out there in a tie game midway through the third in Arizona.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by Chase Freedom. Get your cash back.
Moments ago, a 35-yard field goal by the Cardinals. Now it is 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line with Dennis Johnson in the backfield for Case Keenum. Keenum has missed his last 5 passes. Oh, they come up the middle. He can't breathe. Abraham there. His second sack today, moving ahead of Hall of Famer Derek Thomas, number 127. It's a loss on the play of 9. Second sack for him, back to the 12.
Kevin, they don't even block him. They just allow him to come clean. Look at this. Comes right. Dwayne Brown blocks no one. He steps out. And look, Johnson, as he steps up, number 28, he doesn't know who to pick up. Something tells me it was his guy.
He's a rookie free agent. He's still in there. 2nd and 20. Timeout. Atkins was stationary when he was supposed to move. And will step aside. 5.5 in the third. Tied 17. With NFL Mobile, you can get live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone. Call *NFL to download. Or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Message and data rates may apply. Timeout Houston. 2nd down and 20. Outside we go. It's a block by Posey and a catch and run by Andre Johnson of 4. And Sally's up to the 20. Make it the 16-yard line. We had not seen many passes over 25, which really were the hallmark of Keenum the first 2 games.
No, Keenum has been able to do that against Kansas City. He had 6 plays of 25 yards or more throwing the football. And last week against Indy, had 5 plays of such variety. And while he's played well, this Arizona Cardinals defense has not allowed him to hit the home runs throwing the ball down the field beyond 25 yards.
Longest 22.
Wow.
It's 3rd and 16. They need the 32. Keenum whacks. Incomplete to Posey. The coverage on the play by Rashad Johnson. Throwing into the nickel. 4th and 16. They got a punt.
This defense has been phenomenal. And Case Keenum is doing everything he can to try to manufacture some yards, to try to pick up some first downs. But you saw him sacked on the very first play of the possession, and then he's behind on downs. First facing a 3rd and 16. All you can do there as a quarterback, don't turn it over. Allow Shane Leckler to punt it away. Look at Patrick Peterson looking to make a play on this return.
2nd consecutive 3 and out. Leckler and Peterson. Back to the 24. 4-9 on the hang. Looking for a block from Bethel. He slips by the grasp of the defensive back playing teams, Brandon Harris, and out of bounds he runs. And he takes it back 14 yards on a 60-yard punt by Shane Leckler. Get inside the mind of a quarterback. Join Phil Simms, Rich Gannon, Steve Berwine on NFL Monday QB. It's tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Some good beginning field position is Carl Durrell and that offensive brain trust right there. Schaub standing, Keenum sitting. Here comes Palmer from his 38, 1st and 10. Roberts. Brooks Reed chasing him down, but a catch and run. Close to a 1st down, up to the 47. He picks up 9.
You know, this Arizona Cardinals offense, if you take a look at Roberts, they've got some weapons on their own. Roberts is a change of pace from the bigger wide receivers of Larry Fitzgerald and Michael Floyd. If there's anyone who knows how to set up an offense to really be explosive, is their play caller and head coach Bruce Arians.
Floyd is out. Right shoulder injury. They lost him midway through the 1st half. 2nd down and 1. Trying to find something up there with Mendenhall, and he goes into the gut. Maybe a yard. You see Smith, you see Mitchell right there, stopping the running back for the Arizona Cardinals, close to a 1st down.
Rush yards hard to come by, though, for this Arizona team against a really good defense in the Houston Texans. They're continuing to chop away, only 58 yards rushing right now for Arizona. But, you know, to stay ahead on downs and create 3rd and medium or 3rd short for Palmer is the ideal.
Now they get a 1st down. Ellington will leave the backfield. Oops. Merciless is offsides. Free down for Palmer. Off his launch point and running for his life. Look out. Don't touch him. There's Sharpton over there ushering him out of bounds. But the flag, offsides, Texans.
Palmer using that hard count, isn't he? To get Merciless off.
Offside. Defense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. Free play.
There's Merciless there. 59 right there with the hard count. By Palmer. He understands now he has himself a free play.
7th penalty against the Texans today. Now 1st and 5.
1st and 5 is normally a free play for the offensive play caller. Here in that area of the field, plus territory where you try to take a shot deep. I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce Arians dials up one here.
Texans in their base. Ellington. Swearinger had a 1st swipe at him. Reed may have gotten a hand on him as well. It's a gain of 3, and the Cardinals now down to the Texan 43.
Yeah, still ahead on downs. 2nd and 2. Again, in that area of the field, this is where coaches, when they dial up those deep pass plays, you know, they like to have room to be able to get it in on the plus 40 or 43-yard line, which is where they're at right now, is where they normally will dial one up. But you get the sense that either offense is just one play away from breaking it open and creating big plays.
The numbers are even, the score is even. Mendenhall on 2nd down and 2. Got a block and finds a crack, and he's on the 2nd level. Brought down by Ko. Some nice blocking up front. A burst of 12 to the 31. A 1st down for Arizona.
And even if you want to take a shot deep, look, you got 6 defenders in the box. Swearinger trying to get up there, but they cut it back to the weak side. That's where they have numbers, and they stick with the running game. We told you that the rush yards were difficult to come by for the Cardinals, and Mendenhall and Ellington both combining to really try to manufacture some rush yards. 75 yards running the football today for Arizona.
Lyle Shendline, the center out of Texas, with a great block. Opening the door. 1st and 10. Palmer on a diving catch made. Hausler. He's got it at the 5. He was working on Ko among others. A 26-yard strike. 1st and goal, Arizona.
So after pounding the run, then they go and take a shot down the field. Look at this. Just beyond Swearinger. Hausler able to haul that one in. Good throw by Palmer into tight coverage and being rewarded with a grab from Hausler.
So on this drive, which began back at the 30, catch and run of 9 for Roberts. 12-yard run by Mendenhall. 26 right there through the air to Hausler. 1st and goal at the 5. Mendenhall in the backfield. Rashard Mendenhall wrapped up by Brooks Reed on the edge on a gain of 2 to the 3.
I love the discipline of the play calling by Bruce Arians on this possession. decided he was going to stick with the run game. They have 19 yards rushing on this possession, 35 yards passing, so real good balance. A lot of credit to this offensive line. They're starting to get some movement up front against this Houston Texans defense, and let's see what he dials up here as they're inside the 5-yard line.
Last play defensively, the Texans had 3 in the secondary. Now they bring in a 4th. Second and goal at the 3. Palmer, look out, here comes. Oh, you got to throw it away when you got number 58, Brooks Reed, bearing down the Tucson native out of Arizona in his 3rd year with a great rush. It's 3rd and goal.
Jonathan Joseph would have intercepted that one. Carson Palmer does the right thing. Look, he wants Roberts in the flat to the right side of your screen. And look how Joseph jumps that one, and Palmer throws it away. That would have been a pick 6 had he thrown it to his intended receiver, Roberts, in the flat.
3rd and goal. Ellington, one of the 5 receivers for Palmer. Threw it away. With the flag thrown. It's a timeout taken by.
First charge timeout.
Not a flag.
30-second timeout.
There was no flag. It was a timeout. And now the timeouts equal at 2 apiece to finish this one with 10 to play in the 3rd quarter.
Bruce Arians, you know, he has Tom Moore on his staff. Remember, Tom Moore was a longtime offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. When Peyton Manning had those glory years, winning all those division titles, there's Tom Moore there. And he and Arians have run this offense with basically what they call 11 personnel. 1 running back, 1 tight end, typically 3 wide receivers. And the productive offenses that this system has yielded. You saw it in Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger and his trio of receivers. We've seen it with Peyton Manning in Indy. We saw it with Andrew Luck last year when Bruce Arians was dialing up plays as their offensive coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts. Now he brings it to Arizona. He's looking for Carson Palmer to put up those same kind of numbers.
Ellington, the receiver, bottom of your screen. 3rd and goal at the 3 after the timeout. Palmer. Roberts. Nice defensive play turned in by Brandon Harris. Played him well. Intended for Roberts. 4th down. Again, the Texans will stop it and hold him to a 3-point try.
They've asked Palmer not to force the ball in to Larry Fitzgerald, so they go to Roberts. The ball hits him in the hands. He's got to make that catch. If they're going to go away from Larry Fitzgerald down inside the red zone and go to Roberts with Michael Floyd out of the game, Roberts got to haul that one in.
Here is the field goal try from 21. Cardinals have got the lead with 2 seconds to play in the 3rd. 21-yard field goal, 15th consecutive made by Jay Feely, but they had it 1st and goal at the 5, and they have to settle for a field goal.
I give a lot of credit to Harris, though, forcing the tight throw over the shoulder.
Roberts had a catch and run of 9. Mendenhall had the big run for 12 and a 26-yard pass to the tight end Hausler, which sets up the 21-yard field goal. Here is the wild card picture in the NFC.
Is this not a tight race in the NFC? Carolina Panthers have a lead in their game. They're playing against the San Francisco 49ers. That's an epic battle between the talented quarterbacks of Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick. And Arizona desperately needs a win to stay in the hunt for a wild card.
Cardinals beat Atlanta here week 8 27-13, so they've won 3 of their last 5. Texans come in 2-6. They've lost 6 consecutive games. You can talk to a lot of guys that cover this league for a lot of years, and they would tell you that one of their biggest surprises is what has happened to the Houston Texans. Many people had them penciled in representing the AFC in New Jersey.
Every team that plays Houston says, we can't believe this team has this record. They're much better than the numbers would indicate.
Kareem. And he is lassoed right there and taken down by Kevin Minter. 23-yard return. The 3rd quarter has come to a close. Cardinals lead by 3 going to the 4th on CBS.
Let's get ready to rumble!
If you go back to the last possession of the first half for the Texans and their 2 3-and-outs to begin the second half here, Not a first down in their last 3 possessions. 6 plays, no yards in the third quarter. We're in the fourth. It's first down and 10 for Case Keenum. Tate, Jones the block. Washington the tackle. Look at him not get denied there for a gain of a couple on the play to the 25.
We said there was a premium on points in the second half for the Houston Texans. You can see the second half over these last 6 games where they have gone 0-6. You can see they've been outscored 100-19, and even today, that third quarter remains scoreless.
How do you explain that?
I really think that you've got to be able to throw some adjustments. Patrick Peterson talked about it, that they tend to lock in on some of the rhythm and some of the formations of the day, as he would call it. I think the defense get a better feel for the offense as the game goes along.
Newton playing that right tackle. Tate, Newton with the block, Jones with the block, and this is Tate, who is working into the grasp of Carlos Dansby. He's the leading tackler. The 32-year-old is out of Auburn. It is a gain of 6 to the 31.
And for the Houston Texans, Kevin, to talk a little bit more about the inefficiencies on offense in the second half of ball games, everything is predicated on their ability to run the football. So once teams are able to take away the run game, it takes away their ability to create plays in the play-action pass game. And then the offense becomes very stagnant when they can't run it and they don't have the use of the play-action pass.
Third and 2 into the nickel from the pistol. Keenum. Oh, boy, he just got that baby in there, threading it inside. DeAndre Hopkins, that's a gain of 4 on 3rd and 2. It's a first down to the 35.
This kid has the nerves of a cat burglar, doesn't he? Look at this one. He challenges the defense. Throwing it, look at that, right between 2 defenders. And it's taking a chance, but this is what Andre Johnson said when he talked about Case Keenum. He said, this kid is a matter of fact. He expects to go out and play well.
How about Hopkins? Every third down reception he has had this season, he has converted to a first down. It's first and 10, Tate over the right side, and a tackle made by Dansby, and it carries him for a yard or 2 and picks up 7 up to the 41.
All right, now they're starting to make some plays. You see some momentum in this drive, and that run by Ben Tate goes, I think, a long way into helping keep this defense for Arizona off balance. Should allow maybe to just hold the linebackers with a play-action fake. Hold them just for a beat to get some receivers open at the second level when you want to throw the football.
Rucker is coming on the defensive line for Calais Campbell. Second down, 3. Keenum. Going deep and nobody home.
Wow. Does Andre Johnson draw a crowd or what? 3 defenders down there with him.
I'd be on him too.
Yeah, Case Keenum said, I'm going to give my guy a chance to make a shot. But that one, he was just simply throwing it away. Look at Tyrann Mathieu. We said he has a nose for the football. Goes right for number 80. He gets behind Jeremiah Bell just a little bit. Cut underneath, ball overthrown. But Cardinals defenders, they know where Keenum wants to go with the football when he gets in trouble.
I'm anxious to talk to Gary Kubiak next week about what he thinks about the footwork of Case Keenum, because to me it looks pretty good.
Oh, it's very good. You can tell his quick footwork gets him out of trouble when the protection breaks down.
3rd and 3. They get by Newton. He gets by Rucker and then has to eat the ball. It's Abraham, along with a host of other Cardinals, up the gut. No place to go there for Case Keenum. Loss of 22 yards.
Not even Houdini can escape this one. Look at how they just swarm in from the left side. He tries to spin back to his right. And look, Abraham is waiting there for him as he beat the left tackle, Dwayne Brown. The footwork is good. It's not that good.
All right, we don't know if they're going to give it to Abraham. If they do give him the sack, it'll be his 3rd of the day. Leckler to punt. They need a big one from here. Peterson back at the 17, hang the 4-9. Ooh, and then he was drilled on the play by linebacker Brian Bremen. 16-yard return, flag is down. 60-yard punt by Leckler. Leckler, by the way, the #1 all-time in NFL history gross punter.
He's a weapon, isn't he? Oh, special teams alone.
He's from Texas. He played at Texas A&M. He was a great high school quarterback. Went to Oakland for 13 years. A big free agent Defection from the Raiders to the Texans.
He's one of the best punters
There is
this
no
league has ever
block
seen.
in the back. First down, Arizona. Timeout.
The Cardinal defense tightening the screws late on what has been an ineffective Texan offense in the second half. Abraham's got a couple of sacks, incredibly disruptive. Rucker got that last sack and a loss of 22, and here comes Arizona from their 33, 1st and 10. Mendenhall. Oh, they're bunched up. He got by Sharp, and then grabbing on is Jared Crick. Wrestles him down, gain of 8, and a good run right there up to the 42-yard line for the former Steeler. Tomorrow, Melissa McCarthy and Billy Gardell are back in a new season of the hit comedy Mike and Molly. That's tomorrow at 9, 8 Central. Only on CBS. 2nd down and 2. Boy, it makes things a lot easier if you get something on that first down, huh?
Oh, it sure does. And it creates an opportunity to either go run or pass. The defense can't clue in on your tendencies here.
With a couple tight ends, 2nd down and 2. Oh, there's another big hole. Finally brought down by Joseph, hit by Sharpton, gain of 5, 1st down, moving the chains near the 46.
Larry Fitzgerald, he's a big body wide receiver. Watch his blocking here. This is what Jonathan Joseph talked about. He keeps working on every play. Look at the block on Swearinger. He opens the hole as if he's a pulling guard. That's just an incredible play. What an unselfish player. One of the best to ever play his position, but I just think he does everything on the field that you could want from a receiver.
He grew up in Minneapolis, and someday his bust will be in Canton, 1st and 10. Mendenhall looking for a block. Sowell up there, but Reed is there to stop him along with Swearinger. It's a gain of 9 to the 45. Let's go to New York, and here is our host, James Brown.
San Diego slugging back. Oh, yeah, 9 plays, 60-yard drive. Ryan Matthews, 1-yard run. He gets in on 3rd down, 28-20. Denver back to Kevin Harlan and Solomon Wilcox.
All right. 2nd down and 1. Then the couple tight ends in there. 3 of them. This time it goes off to Stephon Taylor with only his 18th carry of the season. And very close to a 1st down. He had to get to about the 44. It looks like that's where the spot is. Let's see him put it down. Oh, yeah, he got it.
Yeah. And if you were to ask who's taking over the game, I would say the offense and defensive line of the Arizona Cardinals.
The momentum,
we saw the defensive line just pour in, continue to put pressure on Case Keenum. And look at the offensive line as they continue to create room running the football and providing protection for Carson Palmer.
1st and 10. Outside, Hausler. He gets by KO. He's grabbed by Merciless, but he gives him a ride down to the 32. A catch and run of 11 yards. 1st down, Rob Hausler out of Florida Atlantic from El Paso, Texas.
Take a look at the pressure coming off the right side. Look at that. And then they're able to slip Hausler off to the left side. Just good play calling by Bruce Arians. Got a good feel for how to set up some of these calls. And Palmer getting the ball out. And Hausler has been huge for this football team today. 3 catches, 49 yards.
And he's got a bad groin, too. And he's got Whitney Merciless riding him down.
Also has a touchdown.
Yes, he does. 1st and 10. 3 tight ends. And this goes off again to Taylor, the rookie out of Stanford, a 5th-round pick. He picks up 5 right there. Reed got a hold of him. Good observation by you. You can feel the momentum shift in the game.
Yeah, well, we saw the defensive line just consecutively on each play just pour in to put pressure. We know that Texans have struggled to run the ball in the second half. And right now, you can see Wade Phillips' defensive line getting moved off the line of scrimmage as this offensive line, maybe a fresh one coming off the bye week for Arizona, starting to assert itself.
And eating up precious time. 2nd and 6. Outside. Dre. And he's upended there by Jonathan Joseph. He gets as far as the 18. Catch and run at 10. Another 1st down for Arizona.
Look on your left side of the screen. By play design, these tight ends are getting open all day. Haven't we seen them just get open? We've already showed you Hausler getting open in the flat. This is Dre also getting open. Good tackle there by Jonathan Joseph, but not until Dre can pick up the first down.
Hausler has caught 3. Dre, that's his first catch today, picks up 9, and it is a first down to the 19-yard line of the Texans. Oh, Dre didn't spin around enough. Brooks Reed was right there covering 2nd and 10.
They're starting to go to the tight ends. You mentioned Floyd is out. They tried to get the ball to Roberts in the corner of the end zone. He couldn't haul it in, so now they come back on this possession, and Carson Palmer's weapons of choice are both tight ends, Hausler and Dre. Dre didn't get his head around fast enough to be able to make the catch on that play.
This is the 3rd extended drive by the Cardinals in the second half.
And it starts with the offensive line, getting movement in the running game, as we've seen on this drive, 19 rushing yards, and then getting protection for Palmer to get it to the tight ends.
9th play of the drive. Mendenhall was in. Oh, he's got the receiver. Roberts, touchdown. They beat McCain. A 19-yard touchdown pass by Carson Palmer.
Tough, gritty play by Palmer. He knew he had Roberts in man-to-man coverage against McCain. He hangs in there because he's going to take a hit. He knows he's going to fill it. Look at the blitzing A-gap. Double-A blitz, man-to-man coverage. McCain gets beat by Roberts. Palmer knew he had to hang in there long enough for Roberts to detach from coverage, and he put it up where his guy could get it.
We had a great week 1 against St. Louis, Andre Roberts did, with 8 catches. He had 20 coming into today. That extra point puts him up 27-17 Feely. There were some big-time hits on the quarterback, but Palmer sticks in there and fires at 19 through the air to the open Roberts.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Rethink possible. Toyota Care. Scheduled maintenance, no cost. And by Ameriprise Financial. More within reach.
Arizona with 13 unanswered points.
And how about Arizona's defense? They're not allowing Houston to put any points on the board here in the second half. That's been sort of the MO for Houston during the midst of a 6-game losing streak.
Ensuing kickoff. Kareem. Man, there's some hard hitting out there. It is not for the faint of heart. 24-yard return. Carson Palmer with his 2nd touchdown pass today. A wobbler, but it goes right in the grasp of Roberts. I would say it's a pretty important drive for the Texans.
Oh, it certainly is. They've got to produce points, as we said before. Only 12 offensive plays in the second half.
Keenum 1st and 10. Hopkins is right there at the feet of Matthew and Powers. He's got the ball, 27-yard line, a pickup of 10, first down Texans.
They just haven't had many opportunities because they haven't been able to convert 3rd down, so they haven't been able to stay on the field. And then the defense isn't getting stops here in the second half. So talk about complementary football. You also have to complement each other when it comes to making plays.
1st and 10. Tate with the beat on him. There's a tackle made by Rashad Johnson out of Alabama. And the gain, nothing. So the Texans in the second half, 14 plays. They've got 6 yards.
Yeah, and you can see their last 4 possessions, a blocked field goal, 3 consecutive punts, going 3 and out twice. And then on that 4th possession, -4 yards and then a punt.
Base defense, 2nd down and 10. Tate winding his way to the 2nd level. Matthew is there to make the stop with Washington. The gain to the 40, a burst of 11, and Tate picks up a first down.
That's a huge play. The ability to stay on the field here, not put the defense back out there, is imperative. Now, this is something that when we talked to Wade Phillips, he said, what's been the problem in the second half? He said, well, if we knew what it was, we'd fix it. He said, but we're trying everything we do. It's about making one more play and one less penalty.
Keenum on 1st and 10 out of the reach of Hopkins. Powers with the defense. Let's go back to CBS in New York and James Brown.
All right, Kevin, Carolina has now won 5 straight.
Oh, yes, and Colin Kaepernick at the end of the game trying to bring back the 49ers. He gets picked off by Drayton Florence. Carolina wins 10-9.
Once again, that Panthers D stout again. Kevin Harlan and Solomon Wilcox.
In San Francisco,
It is the defense in Carolina that deserves a lot more credit than they're getting, Kevin.
Absolutely. Keechley is as good as there is. 2nd and 10. The blitz! It's deflected and incomplete. It hit the back of Brown. It was almost grabbed there by Calais Campbell. And they had the burst of Jeremiah Bell like a rocket coming up the middle.
Here he is. There's Jeremiah Bell right there. And watch on the right side of the defensive line, Calais Campbell almost intercepts this pass. Bats it up, nearly comes down with it if Dwayne Brown doesn't finish his block. This defense is relentless here in Arizona. On the front end and the back end.
6 times today that the Texans have it 3rd and 10 or more. 3rd and 10 right now. Going deep and nobody home. Incomplete again. Keenum, you can see what his jersey looks like. That's what kind of day he's been taking one whack after another. A lot of pressure, a lot of stress on that line. They got a punt again.
And given and saying all that, the kid is still doing a good job not turning it over. Typically with a young quarterback with the amount of experience of a Case Keenum on the road against this kind of defense, getting battered and bruised the way he is, it becomes a turnover fest. So you have to give him credit for hanging in there. Nonetheless, the ability to put points on the board, that's been the problem.
Leckler, who's averaging about 59 yards per punt. That's his baby fall, and it's a great bounce for the Texans. What incredible backspin, 56-yarder, as good as there's ever been. Both teams today fighting hard. 10-point Cardinal lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Killzone Shadowfall. What will you sacrifice for peace?
Well, you can see the ball control and what it has meant for both teams in the second half. Mendenhall is in. Cardinals have it after the beautifully placed punt by Shane Leckler.
Houston defense needs to stop here, Kevin.
It's 1st down and 10. Mendenhall, Watt. They'll plug it up. Gain of a yard, maybe.
Uh-oh. This may be
What
what
about
they need.
this? Mendenhall, who has one fumble this year.
And he's been known to put it on the ground.
He is. You can ask the Steeler fans about that.
Wow.
Let's see.
Houston's, look at them. They're going to talk to the officials about it. It's a scrum.
This is a huge, huge decision here.
You're the Texans. You need...
Oh, it's Houston's
their
ball.
Field is fumbled, recovered by the defense. 1st down.
Who got it? Watt
Wow.
was the one, at least with the first hand on Mendenhall. His 2nd fumble. It's costly. Yep, there he goes. Your reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year,
Are we
J.J.
surprised?
Watt.
Are we surprised? Look at the ball. Look at the bottom. Look at around the feet. And see the ball hit the turf right there. And then Watt, 99, starting to dig it out. We can't be surprised by that one.
But look where it is.
If you're Mendenhall, you cannot allow this to happen, Kevin. The one thing that will cost you, there it is. There's the ball, and he's not down yet. We've got clear visual evidence. The officials have gotten it right on the field, and J.J. Watt knows it.
Watt was in there. We mentioned before the game that he has had another terrific season on the defense as he tries to fire up his team. And now at the 5-yard line, the Texans have a 4th drive today starting in the opponent's territory. 4 of them today. They only had 5 in the first 8 games of the season.
Remember, he got the turnover at the end of
He
the
sure
first
did.
half, and they couldn't convert on the field goal as it was blocked before halftime.
1st and goal. Keenum for Hopkins. Way over the head of everybody, and the coverage on the play provided by Gerard Powers, the former Colt.
Hey, Hopkins ended up in great position there. He was trying to just front the defender on that play, number 25, Gerard Powers. If that ball's thrown anywhere inside, it's going to be a touchdown.
No Posey. They have Gene, Hopkins. Oh yeah, there's Posey at the bottom of your screen. Bring him in for the second goal at the 5. Short. Posey and Johnson were there. Matthew and the coverage by Patrick Peterson were there in the secondary.
Yeah, Kevin, I think this is what you got to do. Blitz the young quarterback. You got to trust these defenders in the secondary for Arizona. We told you they're really good cover guys. They're playmakers. And you see Dansby. There's the blitzing linebacker forcing the throw before the receivers can be ready. I think you've got to do that. Take it to the young quarterback. Trust your defenders to match up one-on-one in man-to-man coverage.
2-possession game, so you need a field goal somewhere in there. Johnson, who's had only 1 catch in this half. They go to him there. He got it on the ricochet. Peterson defending. That is a touchdown!
Are you kidding
What a
me?
play by Andre Johnson on just his second reception of the second half, but it comes at the biggest of times for the Texans.
Well played by Patrick Peterson, but not good enough. This is just Case Keenum understanding who he's throwing it to. Look at the leap, the one hand on the ball by Peterson. He doesn't pull it in, and off the bobble, Johnson's able to grab it. It's just an improbable and incredible play by Johnson, even though it's so well defended by Patrick Peterson. Look at that. He gets one hand on it and off the bobble. 2 feet down.
And he'll catch it through the play. He grabs it.
And he controls it, Kevin. That's going to be the key. Catch and control with 2 feet in. And see, he controls it even through the fall. He never even pulls it into the body. That's incredible. Can you ask any more of Patrick Peterson other than you got to come down with it?
Well, on a day where he passes Hines Ward for the number 19 all-time receiving yardage leader in the history of the game, he comes up with an absolutely wonderful reception that keeps the Texans alive and kicking.
It's one of the best defended touchdowns I think I've ever seen. Well defended by Peterson.
Steratore watching it, and they've just shown it here inside on the big board, and there seems to be in some people's minds that maybe he didn't get it as Jeff Scanina talks with Watt, who is the one who forced the fumble at the 5 of Mendenhall.
Now let's go back and look at it again. We already know he has control, but take a look at the feet, Kevin. There's the right foot down. He's got it there. Now the left foot down.
And he drags the right.
So he drags the right. That's really 2.5 feet, right?
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be touchdown. Clear visual evidence.
He'll put that on his highlight reel, won't he? Huh?
He's got a lot of highlights.
He does.
That's a part 1 and part 2. It's a 2-part series.
We were lucky today to watch 2 of the best that have played the position. Fitzgerald on one side, Andre Johnson on the other.
Peterson saying, I can't believe he caught it. Peterson had it.
That's about it. It was textbook, wasn't it? You played the position. You should know.
Yeah, he high point the ball the way you want. Tried to one hand grab it in, and as he was pulling it into himself, give Johnson credit for just going up and contesting it. Remember we said that the wide receivers are expected to fight and contest for the football, much like we said Carson Palmer needs his receivers to do. That's exactly what Andre Johnson does for Case Keenum on the touchdown grab. If it's upheld, it will be a second of the day.
And how about this guy who has had another terrific afternoon, and he caused the fumble on the hit of Mendenhall at the 5. And then Keenum, who is hoping for his 3rd touchdown pass of the day.
Look at the elevation by Patrick Peterson.
This would be Andre Johnson's 2nd touchdown pass. He caught a 7-yarder earlier in the game, which would mean, if this counts, he will have caught 5 touchdowns.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch. The receiver gets both feet down, maintains possession of the ball throughout the process of the catch. It is a touchdown.
Andre Johnson, until last week, had not caught a touchdown pass. Now he's caught 5 in less than 2 games from Case Keenum. So he's got 2 today, He's got 61 in his career. Bullock the extra point, and this game is separated by a field goal.
What did Antonio Smith tell us? He said, all we need is a signature moment. We just need someone to stand up and make a play. I think J.J. Watt must have been listening because he's had a great day. Taking the ball away, he's had sack on the quarterback, getting to the quarterback, creating fumbles, hitting, harassing Carson Palmer, making him feel like he's been in a ball game. Then the strip sack and the fumble recovery just before halftime, setting up a field goal attempt. There's another hit on Palmer, and then the fumble recovery after Mendenhall puts it on the ground. He sets up the touchdown for Andre Johnson. Look, 4 tackles, 1 sack on the day, 2 fumble recoveries. That's just a one-man wrecking crew, Kevin. That's what that is. Andre Johnson paying it off. You could hear, you could see even J.J. Watt screaming at it. He said, hey, let's go ahead and do something with this after he got the fumble recovery. Case Keenum to Johnson for a touchdown.
Arizona has turned it over 3 times today, all in their own territory. And now Carson Palmer. He's got 2 timeouts, a 3-point lead, 4.5 to go. And let's see what transpires. The second-year kicker Bullock. He'll drive this into the grasp of Arenas, who brings it out. Javier Arenas finds over a defender. Looked like Victorian is the one that tripped him up. 23-yard return.
Kevin, with, of course, their head coach Gary Kubiak convalescing back in Houston. You know, many of the players, when we talked to them, they didn't want to be overly emotional about it. They didn't want to say, hey, we're going out to win one for Kubiak. But they felt like they let their head coach down 1 week ago when they had the 21-3 halftime lead. He collapses at halftime, and then they allow that game to get away.
Well, we had 13 unanswered points for our new audience in the second half by Arizona. But a fumble by Mendenhall at the 5, a subsequent touchdown pass to Andre Johnson has brought the Texans, who have lost 6 consecutive games, to within 3. And now the defense tightening their screws on a handoff right there, and nothing up the middle. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And Antonio Smith, the ex-Cardinal, with the stop. 2 touchdown receptions today for Andre Johnson.
Yeah, you don't have to tell us, or we don't need to tell you, I should say, there's been a momentum shift. You can see the turnovers by the Cardinals. That's the number to look at, because it's always the great equalizer, even though you lead in all other categories. Throwing the football, total yards, and time of possession. You lead in that turnover category, it's not going to be good.
On the 2nd down and 10 outside, Hausler, the tight end. And then Sharpton slipped, and then tripping over him, the tight end Hausler. It's a gain of 8, and he's up to the 26. And of course, all this in the wake of their head coach Gary Kubiak, who collapsed at halftime last week. They ruled it a mini stroke, and so the interim head coach for just this week, the defensive coordinator, is Wade Phillips. Next week, they say Kubiak will return in the game in Houston against the Oakland Raiders. Gary watching back at home, and Wade Phillips trying to lead this team. A big play here, 3rd and 2. 3 tight ends. Palmer hits Ellington. Brought down by Bryce McCain, the catch and run to the 38. A pickup of 12, and they keep it rolling.
Very big play. They're able to slip Ellington, look, out of the backfield. No one covers him. Look, he gets past Brooks Reed over there all by himself. And look, McCain has to make the tackle, but not until he picks up a new set of downs.
Cardinals are coming off a bye. They are 4-4, very much alive in the NFC wild card race. They have won 3 of their last 5. And Carson Palmer at his 38. 2 timeouts for the Texans, 2 timeouts for the Cardinals. Ellington. Oh, there's just nothing inside. No gain on the play. It stays 2nd and 10. Now the 2-minute warning is going to stop it. Wade Phillips elects to burn one right here. Smart. He's got 1. And so now we have 1 remaining for Houston.
I think it's smart to use that timeout. Here's how we got here, because J.J. Watt gets the fumble, and then they set up the field goal just before halftime. It is blocked And so now we move to the second half. That's where Carson Palmer was able to get the ball to Andre Roberts for a touchdown. And then Case Keenum comes back after the fumble recovery by J.J. Watt. Touchdown to Andre Johnson. That's where we stand now, 27-24 Arizona. And all Wade Phillips needs for his defense is to get one more stop. Get the ball back with about a minute and some change on the clock and allow his young quarterback to go to work. He needs more from J.J. Watt, as if he hadn't already done enough.
Pace defense for the Texans. Second down and 10 for Carson Palmer. Ellington runs into his blocker on that front line, Faneca. It is a gain of 3 to the 41. Another timeout taken, and again by Phillips. So he is finished with timeouts, 2:16 to play here in regulation. Well, for those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals. Kevin Harlan alongside Solomon Wilcots. 3-point game, 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast where it'll be seen at its normally scheduled time.
3rd and 7, big play. If they get the stop and force the punt, Case Keenum will be allowed to come on with just under 2 minutes to go in the ball game and see if he can engineer a game-winning drive on the road here in Arizona.
Keenum taking the place of the ineffective and before injured Matt Schaub, undrafted out of Houston, only a 6-footer, and that's one of the reasons why he wasn't picked. Has thrown the touchdown passes, 3 today. 3rd and 7. And what a catch! The running back got it. The coverage by KO. Ellington has it, but you can see shy.
He's going to be short.
It was 3rd and 7. He picks up 6.
Shiloh Keough in coverage. Could not prevent the catch.
And then he went out of bounds on top of that to stop the clock.
Stop the clock, absolutely. But he was trying to hit that first down marker. I don't know. He could have stayed in bounds. Look, see, he's just trying to get to that first down marker. And incidentally, he falls out of bounds. Look at 31, Keough in coverage. Great catch by Ellington.
And it looks like they are going to punt. Now the offense is still on the field.
Oh, you got to go ahead and punt this one.
Arizona is challenging the ruling of the field as it relates to a first down.
They're going to challenge the spot, and they can because, as you can see, we're not under 2 to 11. Ellington with a great grab. He is a player that rushed for 154 against Atlanta a couple weeks ago. The rookie is 6th-round pick out of Clemson.
Now let's take a look at the possession of the ball, because he does extend the ball in that right hand right there, and then his left foot hits out of bounds. I don't know exactly where they spotted in relation to where he is there, but it looks like he may be good. Look at that right foot, and then by the time the left foot comes down, that ball had extended beyond that first down marker. If that is a true spot, it's going to be very close. Well, if you're Houston, you hate for it to have to come down to this kind of deal, right? For a replay on a spot. So watch the catch here. Now look at the first down marker right around the 48. But when that left foot touched out of bounds, the ball had already extended right at that red mark. Right
down
there.
The extension.
See, watch the left foot. The left foot isn't down yet, but when the left foot hits down, watch where the ball is. Right there.
But it looked like it left his hand.
Looks like the ball left his hand, Kevin, which means it would not be a first down. But they're going to mark it short of that. Tried to extend it so far, he ended up losing possession of the ball, but it's out of bounds. Boy, we talk about it being a game of inches. This defines that perfectly.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball is at the 47-yard line. It'll be 4th down, Arizona. Arizona is charged with their 2nd timeout of the half.
So they've got 1. It's 4th down. They've got a punt.
Wow. Houston has no timeouts left, except for at the 2-minute warning. There'll be a break, and then it's going to be up to Case Keenum to manage the clock.
Dave Zastudil has had a couple of punts. In fact, his last 2 go out of bounds at the 1. He's had a great day punting. Sean Martin is back at the 10 station for the Houston Texans. everyone's got their shorts on straight. Here we go. Fair can signal for and allotted at the 16-yard line to Keyshawn Martin, 37-yarders. So here comes the undrafted quarterback who last year was on the practice squad. In fact, he was such an afterthought they would play him sometimes at cornerback during practice. He set all kinds of records at the University of Houston. He was undrafted, and Gary Kubiak personally got him to sign with the Texans after going undrafted. He is the NCAA's all-time leader in yards and in touchdowns. And today he has thrown 3 touchdown passes. He's got 7 in his very short career, making his 3rd career start today.
Yeah, this would be his first fourth quarter come-from-behind win. Be his first win, period, because in those first 2 starts, while he's played well, they've yet to win one.
They begin at their 17 with no timeouts, and it's 1st and 10 up the middle. They come. Outside, it is grabbed by DeAndre Hopkins. The tackle made by Powers. The pressure up the middle. A pickup of 11. They get a first down, the 2-minute warning, and down by 3, the Texans. 1:59 to go. There's a look at Randy Bullock. Remember last week on Sunday night against the Colts, he missed 3 of 4, including 2 in a row. He's gone 1 of 2 today. With 1 timeout for Arizona, and the Texans out of timeouts. It is 1st and 10. Case Keenum airing it out and going down the sideline looking for Hopkins. The coverage by Powers, the coverage by Johnson. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
They're taking a shot, and guess what? Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator for Arizona, he's coming after the young quarterback. They sent 5, only blitzed 1, and playing man-to-man on the back end. Remember, we told you this is a very talented defense, and John Abraham has wreaked havoc in the backfield of the Houston Texans all day long.
Nickel secondary, 2nd down and 10. Good block by Newton, the right tackle. Andre Johnson has caught 2 touchdowns today. Brought down by Patrick Peterson. The slant good for 7 up to the 35.
What do they tell us about Case Keenum? He's cool, but he's very instinctive, and he can make plays off schedule when things break down.
On 3rd and 3, Keenum deep, out of bounds for Johnson. Coverage by Peterson. 4th and 3.
All comes down to this. 4th and 3. And now this Cardinal defense we've talked about. It's up to them to make a play. J.J. Watt could do nothing but look on, along with a lot of other Houston Texans fans.
Keenum knocked away. Nice defensive play by Gerard Powers. They were going to Hopkins. The pressure up the middle by Darnell Dockett. And on downs, the Cardinals will take over.
And it's exactly what you have to do. Look, Dockett comes around here. You've got to put pressure on young quarterbacks. Make them have to speed up their decision-making process and make throws under pressure. Pressure up front leads to good coverage on the back end. They went for Hopkins. Good coverage on the back end of the defense.
Houston is out of timeouts. Keenum walks to the sideline. A discouraged Wade Phillips, a disappointed Gary Kubiak watching back in Houston, convalescing there. And the Arizona Cardinals are going to win their 2nd consecutive game. They've won 4 of 6. And this is the upcoming schedule for now, the 5-4 Cardinals, as they stay very much alive in the NFC wild card race.
Oh, absolutely. Next week on the road at Jacksonville, they play host to Indianapolis, a team that Bruce Arians knows all too well as he served as their offensive coordinator 1 year ago. Then on the road at Philadelphia. They'll move to 1 game above 500 to 5-4 coming off the bye week. All the hard work seems to have paid off.
The reigning NFL Coach of the Year when he was guiding the Indianapolis Colts when Chuck Pagano was convalescing with his leukemia treatments. Well, 7 consecutive losses for the Houston Texans, and no one could have predicted that for their great player J.J. Watt and his team. falling to 2-7.
Well, you can't ask anything more of J.J. Watt than the game he turned in here today out in Arizona.
Arizona's defense holds the Texans to 41 yards in the second half, and as you pointed out to begin the telecast, the second half has been a problem for Houston.
It's been a problem of keeping teams out of the end zone and then producing points as well. Still outscored here in the second half of today's ball game.
The team trying to win one on the road for the coach. Carson Palmer and the Cardinals had other designs. That is our final score. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by The Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and The Mentalist. Solomon Wilcots, Kevin Harlan saying good night from Glendale, Arizona. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.